What is going on, everybody? It's me and Eric Breen, just hanging out. And, just gonna talk some comic books, show off some books, and then hopefully people will listen. Chat if we get anybody. Uh, Hold on, I think we got one person watching. That might be you, Breen. Let me look.
It's not me.
Not you? All right. All right. And now should be the second person watching us. I just turned my phone on. All right. Yeah. So not sure where Jeff is, but we count our blessings when he's not here.
Nice.
just just gonna hang out and show off some comic books like we normally do. There's only one book I'm gonna get a chance to, and I'll show that off in a minute. But yeah, today has been one of those days where I kind of like the day went by me because didn't have anything else to do. I was reading some books, and then I laid down for a bit, and then I woke up around like 8 Eastern. And just like, and I was like, oh wait, it's Thursday, and I'm panicking because I thought I thought the stream was an hour ago. I was like, oh, so then I realized, oh wait, I still have an hour left. So I read some more books. Hey, what's up to Henry? What's up, man? How's it going? Happy Thursday night. Yeah. So we're just gonna show off some books or hauls, talk about some controversial comic books. There's at least one of them. Or two, and then and then we'll just hang out for a little bit, and it all depends on how many people show up, because this might be a short one, which isn't bad because I can go watch some stuff. But alrighty then, let me go full screen here. All right, book I did not get a chance to finish reading. It's Solomon Kane, issue number 2, Petri Zurcher. Art is beautifully done in this book. There's no doubt that this guy should be working at one of the big two.
They won't pay his rates.
Exactly.
Well, DC will.
Can you imagine him on Tarzan and Dynamite?
Well, I'll tell you what, this is not nearly as good a work as he's capable of. I mean, I've seen way better from him.
Oh, sure.
But that said,
even phoning it in, a priest being lit on fire by a witch doctor.
What witch doctor did it? Ah! By the way, in case I forget, when you get to Predator Spider-Man, Henry wants to see a lot of interior art. So do I.
Yeah.
I didn't. I couldn't stop by the store on my way home because my eyes were dilated and I couldn't see where I was driving.
I didn't blame you. The eye drops or just like medication you're on?
No, they part of the
old
appointment was
because
I had an eye exam because you have to.
That's right.
You have to have an eye exam to get your license renewed now.
Really?
and all kinds of other shit. Yeah,
is that at a certain age group?
No, it's nationwide now.
What?
Yep.
Well, I just had mine renewed without an eye exam.
You got in under the wire.
Oh,
this because it started in 25.
Huh. Well, I think 2026 is or actually no, yeah, 2025 or last year. So I don't know. See,
you got your license renewed last year?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, so it wasn't in effect until.
So I wonder how many years is it? Like every 6 years?
Four or 6.
Damn.
But now you have to have a new special ID to travel and to go into most government buildings now.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
All right.
Yeah, Cat, I couldn't see the light to drive toward it. I probably shouldn't have been on the road. Everything was blurry. It was like the good old days when I drove drunk.
I like this cat. He wasn't mean to you. He was trying to help you out. That's where everybody's watching the NHL playoffs. That's right.
No. NBA playoffs, maybe a few, but
Right.
that reminds me, I see who's playing right now. See, I don't know.
All right. Worst book of the week might be, so some might be the worst book of the year. Number 8, Batman Hush. Now, I gotta say this. I'm going into this as a person who has not read all the Batman comics, so if I have a lot of stuff that did not offend me. There's only one thing that offended me, and that was the fact that Bruce even uses a gun and aims it at Jason's head. I have no idea when this is supposed to be taking place. No, I imagine this is right after the events of the first Hush because it doesn't seem like it's a modern book, current timeline. Maybe it is, but I didn't get that. I did not get the hint of that. It just seemed like it was kind of like the Jeff Loeb is just like me. We don't read Batman comics. We've only read. Yeah.
He's read enough to know better. Batman hasn't used a gun since maybe 1940.
Yeah, and he wouldn't use a gun, and that's the kind of thing that bothered me. But the art here is pretty cool. That's the one thing I can't fault Jim Lee for the art. The art is really good in this. So basically, at the other events of the last issue, Joker is dying. He, instead of taking Joker to a hospital, takes her to a Leslie Tompkins clinic, knocks Joker out of the serum, coma stuff, and he explains why he didn't take her there because maybe that's what Hush wants him to take him to the hospital, whatever. I don't know. When it says I can't take the chance that Hush wants me out in public with him, So he has her save his life, whatever. And I understand, we talked about this a little bit last night. He didn't like the fact that he's putting her life at risk, by bringing the Joker there. And honestly, I don't agree with you, but I also don't agree with you because I just I don't know a lot of the Batman tropes and stuff, because I was never a Batman reader.
Well, if you read this, you didn't have to. If you read that story, she's the one that found him after his parents were killed.
Yeah,
she basically saved him.
Yeah,
they've been confidants. She's the only
the
only civilian that knows his identity.
Yeah, other than
and she talks to him the way no one else, the way he won't let anybody else.
Yeah,
it was to risk her for for the most despicable villain in the DC universe, in the greatest mass murder in the history of the world. No, like I said, that's.
So, like I said, he brings him back to the cave then after this because he can't take him to the hospital after he's and he's kind of like I said, the art in there, and it's kind of weird because you get these weird fetish shots of the Joker's. There's no fingerprints, no toe prints. He's like, oh, I was assuming back in the day it was just cosmetic. It was just putting on a paint. It's kind of talking about it, and then of course we get Jason Todd shows up, and this is what threw me off because when I say I question when this takes place, because he talks. We get a mention about how you would never put yourself in a laundry room without an exit, or he said something about how Clayface impersonated him. Batman actually pulls the trigger and knocks the gun on his hand, and shoots Jason Todd, or at least he doesn't know if it's Jason Todd, guy in the head, just to graze the helmet, to crack it, so he can see who's underneath. Which I think is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. It's a cool shot, cool art, but I mean, yeah. I at this point, I was wondering when this takes place because he doesn't know that it's Jason Todd under the mask, or at least we're led to believe that.
No, he has a pretty good idea. It takes place in whatever part of modern continuity.
Yeah,
because I said,
I'm
sure they were off doing this on their own. And
was this pre New 52 or
no? No, this is post Rebirth. This is current continuity. Yeah. It's just not. It may not take place right after the last storyline because they were off. Like I said, they and I'm sure they were told they don't have to adhere to anything.
I was gonna say because I'm saying it's not because he's ignoring a lot of other stories that happen on, and honestly, I don't know a lot of the stories. I mean, but I mean, I read it as the fact that this takes place right after the events, the first one, and you're ignoring whatever storylines came after before New 52.
No, it's there's years in between.
Yeah,
because
but,
it's some of Hush's return, blah blah blah. It's just
yeah.
there's no.
It's a so what's the word I'm looking? Convoluted or
Convoluted.
convoluted? Yeah.
Well, like I said there's no
So
there's no way to sugarcoat the fact that this was a shit book.
yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's recycling the whole trope as far as Batman and Jason Todd and blah blah blah. You brought the Joker here. You saved his life. The guy killed me, and then he has the crowbar and stuff. I noticed that. But the one thing I gotta say if you're a Jason Todd fan, the one plus is that Jason Todd's using guns. He's not being a pussy and not using guns like he's in the new books. So the other thing is like they have the Riddler showing up in like Arkham gear or something like that. It's really weird. So as I said, it's so confusing because it's
Who is that guy?
It's the Riddler at the end.
That's the Riddler.
See the question mark?
Oh yeah, now I do.
He's the one that can help him with Hush. He offered volunteers. Yeah, because Hush knows. They remember at the end. Are they then that remember it was Enigma that knew Batman's secret identity? So he's offering his services to help the Bat family. He figured out who they all were. Because he says like because he says how many Dick's like how am I getting to Barbara? He's like how did he get in? And she's like well I let him in. So what about the lockdown? He knows where you live. He's a lot smarter than you or anyone gives him credit for. I know what it feels like. So like I said,
the first what so I was so annoyed that I didn't even. Okay, so Barbara invited him
into the clock tower.
Okay.
Because he knows their secret identities.
The Riddler in this continuity is a murderer.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, it's like
it's even worse than I thought.
So we're talking about how bad this is. Now someone else is supposed to take it after. Who's taking after Jeff Lemire? They announced. I think they.
Matt Fraction.
Matt Fraction. Do you think Matt Fraction will be above this as far as this?
This story won't. His story doesn't follow anything that came before it, and
I know
nothing.
I'm just. My question is: do you think that like Fraction's writing will be on the same level as Chuck Dixon, or not Chuck Dixon, but I'm sorry, Chip Zdarsky's? Do you think it's going to be as bad as that? Do you think it might be better up like Titanians?
If he brings this Iron Man game,
yeah,
it'll be okay.
Yeah.
If he brings the Jimmy Olsen, no offense to Jimmy Olsen fans, no, but it'll be shit.
I was shocked. This, let me go check again. But the last time I checked the Geek Geeks for this book, it had mixed views. I mean, really bad. It was a 2.9. That's all hated it was. Right? When it comes to League of Comic Geeks, a lot of people just don't like a lot of conservative stuff over there. It made it up to a 3.0 since yesterday. I mean, when the left hates this and then we don't like it, yeah. I think a lot of the people that are on there actually on the people don't like this are the people who are like Jason Todd fans. They're the most offended. They don't give a crap about Batman holding a gun. They just don't like Jason Todd being written out of character.
I don't think Jason Todd was written out of character. Batman was.
Well, like I said, the biggest complaint I kept seeing online is the fact that it's the 2000 early 2000s Batman tropes, recycled stuff. We don't care about that.
Those are people that don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. All right, just 1 second. I gotta get a bot over on Twitch. Yeah, that's right. We are live on Twitch right now. Like I said, I wasn't offended. Like you were more into this stuff, the lore stuff. I don't know a lot of Batman stuff, so it affected you more on a personal level. But for me, like I said, it was certain things in there I just didn't care for. It was kind of boring.
Well, it said, he knows better. It didn't make the story better.
Yeah.
And I'll go into a little bit more detail when I review it.
Yep. But yeah, I decided to bring it up right away because it wasn't. It was kind of a boring story. Okay, we got Joker was dying, so he takes him. Whether I don't care if he took him to the hospital or whatever. Okay, we saved Joker's life. And it was kind of like, oh, uh, we're gonna bring in Jason Todd. I heard you saved his life. The guy who killed me. Blah blah blah. It's like that was cliche and boring. There was and that beyond that, we
That was
learned
actually the only thing in the book I liked.
yeah.
Because that makes sense. You'd be pissed as hell. The guy that
You want to remind me of Three Jokers.
was your mentor when you were killed by this guy, and he's moving heaven and earth to save him.
Yeah.
It's just like I said. I mean, I thought that was about the only thing in the book that was written well.
Yeah, it reminded me so much of reading Three Jokers.
Oh, Three Jokers was fucking Tolstoy compared to this.
No, but I sense the whole thing with Jason Todd being triggered over Joker still. I thought he would have worked past it by now.
Well, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say if you or I had ever been killed by somebody,
yeah,
and by some miracle we were brought back to life, I'm guessing we'd probably have a lifetime grudge against said person. I'm just going to throw that out there.
But I mean,
I'm not that forgiving.
I know, but I mean, like, it's just in general. It's like you think after a while, you hate the guy, but like you come to learn some kind of like coping mechanism or something, I guess, or stay away from the person.
Not if your life is violence and killing.
Sure. But I don't know. I guess.
Or and then you had a chance to get revenge on the person that killed you, but your best friend, whoever that is, stops you, or the guy that your mentor stops you from doing it.
It just seems like we get all these issues without him. Like mention the Joker, or there's no Jason involved with the Joker whatsoever. And then when they want to create drama, so you bring the Joker
because the Joker's in the story, though.
Yeah.
If the Joker and Jason turn up in the same story, you're going to get that. That's consistent. I would rather he's never going to get over that.
I'd rather have him go after the Joker again.
Because remember, he's not Dick. He's not Tim.
Yeah.
He's, if there's anyone he's even remotely close to personality wise, it'd be Damien. But I said, Jason Todd is capable of doing just as much bad as he is good.
All right.
Anyway,
number 7. We got the 1 in 25. Actually, it might be the 1 in 50. Actually, think about it. Yeah.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have some other books that I like better than this.
You must have had a great week.
The reason I'll bring this is a little lower on my list because I don't care about Airwave or Airboy or not. Yeah, it's Airwave, right? Yeah.
Your list of characters you don't care about is almost as lengthy as Ash's was up with. I didn't like that. I didn't think I was going to like that when I first heard about it.
It's basically explaining how Grodd manipulated Airwave into becoming a spy, and then just yeets him at the end.
I thought that was cool. I thought this was a very good issue.
Well, it doesn't help that I'm getting some fire and ice BS in the backstories too.
I know. God, it's like, are you?
And then on top of that, we get the Superman Unlimited thing with.
Superman Unlimited is just boring and dull.
The art was horrible.
Fire and Ice is offensive.
I don't understand the love for Jorge Jimenez Superman art. When the way he's drawing the characters. I don't know if that's him just throwing it in.
I think Jorge Jimenez is the most overrated artist by you modern fans out there. Ugh. I mean, I'll give you Dan Mora.
Yeah.
But Jorge Jimenez, I don't understand. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Wes would give him a kidney, and I don't get it.
Like, for me, the whole entire story, the reason why I said I didn't care for much of the story, because, like, for the most of it, it was kind of boring until he got to the end where I like the Legion of Doom. I want the Legion of Doom, and I had to wait till like the last page for the Legion of Doom. I understand this is only it's like a second part of a larger story, but yeah.
Egads, what part of this story did Cantwell write?
Why?
He's in the credits.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was trying to. That's probably why I didn't like it as much.
No, you didn't like it as much because you're.
Or you know what? Cantwell might be on the backup stories. Fire and Ice.
The backup stories were his previews.
Oh,
Joanne Starner or whatever her name is writing that.
But basically, Grodd was end up getting explaining how Grodd, years ago, got ended up getting Green Martian's powers abilities that allowed him to break free from his prison, from Grow City, and then he used those powers. Basically, he wanted to infiltrate the Justice League, so he manipulated this air boy who we saw was talking to Superman in this. Made him believe that he was fighting against this villain. Actually, it's the first appearance actually of this villain too. Do you remember what they said his name is?
Nope.
This is a random like villain.
He looks familiar, but
Leah Comic said listed his name. I just can't remember what his name is. But oh, Deathbolt. Yeah, I don't know if that's like triggers.
He's been around.
Yeah,
but he's just. I just don't. You know, if Black Cat's still here, maybe he can tell us.
Grodd does the typical trope and says, "Oh, you think that these guys are heroes? They're villains." Cliche for me. Hey, there he is.
Sorry,
buddy.
I completely lost track of time. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm sorry you found it. I mean, yeah, good to see you, buddy.
I was in bed reading my Eerie collection, and I was just like,
you could have kept reading.
What volume?
7.
I'm reading 11. 7-11.
Yeah. For somehow I put 7, 8, 9 in my wish list, and then when I went back to order, 8 was sold out. So I went from 7 to 9. So I still need to get 8. But anyway, sorry about being late.
That's okay. It's all right.
But I'm here.
So honestly, yeah. So it's the whole cliche thing where Grodd convincing the kid. Oh, well, heroes are bad guys.
What do you want him to do? He's trying to recruit him. It was supposed to say, "Hey, these are really good guys."
I'm just saying it's like,
I'm evil as fuck. But hey,
I'm just saying it's like a new. It's such a cliche thing. You see it on all of like the '80s cartoons. Like,
no shit. Because sometimes the best cliches are the most time. I don't know.
It's like a Legion of Doom thing. Little Johnny, you thought that Superman was good. He's really particularly evil. Let me show you.
Wasn't he using some sort of mental control on him at the same time?
Yes, he's using Martian Manhunter's powers to amplify his own.
Yeah, so it could be, that could be kind of explained away a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, the kid at first resisted, but then he had to like nudge him a little bit. So then like here and Airwave gets like, you use me. Like, oh, how about what? And gets angry, upset, and then the leagues are like, oh, we tracked this bitch because we didn't trust him. The league didn't trust Airwave as it was, so they tracked his signal. He gets literally disintegrated by a meat gun. I don't know. Turns him into meat pile. Yeah, maybe you know what though? Maybe he's not dead. Maybe he just was transported to a different, He looks
pretty dead to me.
He got atomized. That's all we know that. And so we get a gorilla with a gun. And then at the very last minute is when the heroes show up. They're like, oh, we're going to take you down, blah, blah, blah. And he seems just smirking. He's like, really? He's like, it's time, man, friends. The war begins. And then he just takes them out. So honestly, I'm looking forward more to part 3 than I am to 2. 2 was just kind of like a filler episode for me. That's why I didn't care for it as much. Alrighty then. Number 6 for this week is G.I. Joe.
Why is Scarlett doing the Jackson Hyde pose?
It's not. That's Baroness.
That's Baroness?
Yep.
Oh, the hair looked red when you first popped it up there.
That's because the orange in the
Why?
background.
Why is the Baroness doing the Jackson Hyde pose?
Because that's how Derek True drew her. It's a great
I mean,
cover.
she looks better doing it than he does.
Yeah.
But then because I like girls.
So I would hope so.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you like what you like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it takes place. This is right after issue 5. This is issue 6. We have Duke and Cobra Commander who stay behind the fight against the Cobra Commander. So they disable this brainwave pretty much bomb. If it goes off, it'll kill everybody in the area, but it also in the 20-mile radius, because they're outside of Washington D.C., will make them forever loyal to Cobra. It's a brainwash machine. So we get some cool kind of scenes in here from Tom Riley doing some art. And you get like I said, the whole thing with them is that this is the first meeting for them, which I think was really cool because for a long time they haven't had a meeting, and like Cobra Commander tries to reach out to him. He's like, you and I are kind of the same, and it's like, we are loyal to people, and they betrayed us, and he's like, I'm nothing like you, and he ends up shooting him, and then we see Cobra Commander has he already lost his arm. He has a fake arm, and he's also powered by Energon. Meanwhile, we got the Baroness, who's leading the rest of the Joes on a helicopter away from Commander Chrome. I call him Chrome Dome. I can't remember what his name is, But he's pretty much he's the leader of Mars, the corporation, and he's in league with Cobra Commander. He's mad that they destroyed all his weapons, and he's chasing him down. And instead of she's gonna leave, but instead she comes back to help out Duke because she's not going to leave him behind. So, like I said, it's a high octane auction. It's Joshua Williamson's writing, and that's one of the reasons why I've been picking this up, because Joshua Williamson has continued to this base prove that he can write pretty much anything, as long as he has time to it, because that's the only thing I hate about writers when they have multiple books. Like you can tell they start phoning it in. And with G.I. Joe, I've been liking this because this is this isn't your 80s cartoon. Yo, Joe. This is like Skybound when they're doing Transformers. People die in this, and you do see the blood splats. At the end, after the Duke and Cobra Commander fight, Duke realized he has the upper end. But Cobra Commander says, "For screw this." He kills the scientists. They had the scientists who actually built this bomb strapped to it, and in order to actually activate it, they need to have someone in there controlling it. So Cobra Commander says, "Well, I don't need this guy," and just kills him. Reaches in towards the end and grabs what he needs out of the part. Later on, Duke ends up going back and being rescued, and then it shows you have here as far as the Cobra Commander team, the Cobra regrouping, Destro, that's what his name was, yeah. Basically yelling at Cobra Commander. He's like, I don't trust you. You screwed us over and stuff. He's like, no, I just grabbed what I needed out of there. Now we can make now is what we're going after is what's really, here's the real plan. And it showed Megatron at the bottom there. Meanwhile, Duke has a conversation as far as with Hawk. I think it's Colonel Hawk. And, and then Baroness talks to Clutch, who just basically had been in undercover and over with the Cobra. He just wants to get out of town there. He's just tired of being, cooped up. Baroness makes it kind of like, she's like, she was questioning why he was allowed to leave, because he's the reason why they went to Cobra's base to get him. And as he goes into his Jeep, it starts transforming. And this is where, again, the first crossover, more so with the Joes and the G.I. Joe. And this is Hound, the Transformers on an Autobot, meaning Clutch. So it kind of leaves on a cliffhanger. So this book has been picking up, and I said the more they had crossovers with the Transformers, I'm curious to see where Robert Kirkman's basically the creator, or not the creator, but he's like in control of everything pretty much. He has Daniel Warren Johnson currently over on Transformers, and he has Josh Williamson writing G.I. Joe.
Editor, maybe?
What's that?
Editor? He might have been the editor.
No, no. Kirkman is going to control Skybound.
Yeah, so
that's the saying. Yeah, he's like the chief president or something like that, But yeah. So I'm curious to see what goes on with the war. Obviously, we had Megatron was introduced in the last couple issues of Transformers, being back to full status, and looking forward to it. Everybody thought, like I said, like this book they announced that someone's going to something's going to happen at the end that you didn't see coming. Everybody expected the Baroness, who's normally on the Cobra side. They thought that she was going to defect the Cobra, but she didn't. And maybe she won't. But all right. Brian's gonna flip his like, that's this next book, this beat out Justice League Unlimited? Yeah, I did. Even Wes was praising this on Twitter. I got the comment on there earlier.
Liberty.
Yeah. Liberty. Honestly, this is fun. If you were a fan of the Archie comic books, which we have also been reading on this channel here on Saturday nights, and the 1984 cartoon, or 86, for when it came out. This is literally Eric Burnham, who is known for being the main writer on the IDW Ghostbusters. He's been doing Saturday Morning Adventures, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he's been doing really well job on this. This guy takes his time, to go through old episode stuff, and he's bringing in characters and his stories reference events that happen in certain cartoons. Episodes and even has the turtles breaking fourth walls, the same jokes you got in the cartoon and also in the Archie comics. This is pretty much like if you have a small child or under 10 or whatever, this is a good book for them. I'd say even 12 years old to read. This is 100% non-agenda, whatever. It's just plain fun. Especially if you want to have your kids, want to get something to enjoy and it's safe for them, you can have them watch the cartoons, and then you can have them, read the Archie comics if you want to. But this is really just basically, this is the best book referencing a lot of stuff. We even have the Ninja Turtle gang that were introduced in issue 1 of the Ninja Turtles back of Archie series. Basically, a guy he was hired by Shredder to basically make the turtles look bad by posing as Ninja Turtles, make them seem like they're criminals when in truth they're not. We even get these evil turtles from a dimension where they serve the Shredder. The Shredder is the mayor of New York City. Yes. These guys were referenced in a couple of issues ago where Michelangelo ended up on their world, and now because Shredder is trying to make himself tangible again because he's been caught between dimensions, so he's been like a ghost mode. They're gonna open a portal and restore him back to his normal self. The only thing that happens is that Rocksteady, I think his name is. He's the what you call it, the rhinoceros one, the lanky. He gets restored, but Shredder's still stuck. But these guys get pulled through. They fight against turtles, and it's just fun. I said, literally, if you were a fan of the cartoon series, this is what you're getting. The art is just fantastic on this. This is Sarah Meyer. And I'll just say that you're glad that she's not writing because she kind of leans a little bit to the opposite side. But the art, like I said, the detail on this, like I said, this is literally drawn with the same style as the cartoon series. Imagine that, trying to make it look like the actual cartoon series and not half-assing it. This is IDW too. IDW, like I said, this is probably the only good book they have left. Yeah, just the humor, the jokes, the action, the fighting in here itself. And then other characters will be coming through in the next couple of issues. Just looking forward to it, man. And it's like I said, this is awesome. This is what I like. You know, I grew up watching this cartoon series. It's probably why I like it a lot more. But don't take my word for it. Take Wes's too. He was really enjoying it. Yeah, that's why it's my number 5. All right, number 4 for this week is the Summer of Superman. Just kidding. It's Superman, issue 25. It's a milestone, guys. You got the 25 issues. Yeah. You know what also got the 25 issues? Batman Beyond and Dan Jurgens, and they cancel it. Fuck DC.
Thinking Critical was just talking about that on one of his videos, that, you know, things like Marvel they wouldn't make it to 25, but DC has been doing a good job of getting, you know, letting them go for a while.
That's because DC doesn't have a stick up their ass like Marvel does. There's, like I said, whatever war is going on at DC, it's not happening at Marvel. You know?
No, because everybody's on the same page at Marvel, and that page is blank.
Yeah.
And DC's actually starting to publish them, because there's only a couple of good Marvel books.
Let's go. Also, what's up to Davis Anovich? What's up, man? And anybody else who might have popped in? All of you 10 viewers. This was great. I love Lex's portrayal in this. We have the evil Lex, who has like all of the memories. Like, he's a clone of as an XL. It was a original plan by Lex Luthor to basically, in case, you know, if he needed to, but another devious plan to defeat Superman by making him have like Superman's abilities and some other stuff like that. At least, I mean, similar, I guess, similar idea. He could fly and stuff. But Lex, the original Lex, and it takes place. This is a prequel, or at least the beginning of it explains before Lex lost his memories. His plan was, you know, what way to defeat my bitter enemy than to make him work with me, and that's why his idea was for Supercorp. You know, and he said no, and but she's like, Mercy's like, what about Project XL? Are you still concerned that's back? He's like, don't be foolish, Mercy. It's too dangerous, too unstable. Because he was built on basically his previous work with Bizarro and stuff. Superman.
I like that touch at the beginning, because it reminded people that it might be a different tack, but Lex was still a bad guy.
Yep.
But I wonder if they'll go into it at some point, depending on how this plays out, if that he was starting to waver even before he lost his memory.
Yeah. He's starting to become nicer.
Yeah.
But we saw she releases XL, you know, and he has all the memories of Lex Luthor's memories, including the up-to-date ones and stuff, or at least some of the stuff. You know, and yeah, he's literally old Lexi because he hates his daughter. You know, he's like, you should be on your island. What why the fuck are you here and stuff? You know, it's hatred for Superman. You know, and then he sees that Lois, you know, because he's catching himself. He's like, oh, Lois, you superpowers too? Wait, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna kill your children, and blah blah blah. We also see he also has memories of basically when and Lex and her being like lovers. Yeah. And at the point, Mercy has kryptonite. So and it's revealed that like Superman and Lois had no idea what the hell they were even saying because they're in too much pain. So his little rant monologue, they didn't hear it. Meanwhile, Lena contacts her dad, who's in prison, and says, you know, Dad, I need you. And Miss Moon Knight, I guess, what's her name is, you know, Marilyn Moon Knight, I guess, shows up. She's going to kill Lex or whatever because she wants revenge against him for what he did in the past. And instead, she gives him a ride. And Lex shows up to help out Superman, you know, in his awesome, like, tech suit. And you get this, like, Lex versus Lex. And I love it. He's like, you know, it's like, he's like, because she's like, because you want to know, he's like, he says your fight isn't with them, your fight is with me. He's like, and then evil Lex is like, so this must be the so-called real me. You grew a beard and lost your mind, and then brought an Anne friend. Long time, Marilyn. He's like, stand down, XL. You might think you're a Lex Luthor, but you're not. I don't know how you got free, but I'm putting you back. He's like, oh, Mercy did the deed. Clearly, we lost our way. And he's like, so then the Lex, the good Lex is like, then Mercy and I will be having a little chat. I love that, like, little line, because that's always been like the even devious Lex. So he's like, oh, Mercy and I have to have a little chat afterwards. I love that little nod. Lex gets a suit. Yeah, like I said, he's like, he's basically gonna kick his ass, and then something starts happening as far as like, because he fires the evil Lex starts having problems. He's like, see, there's one thing that Mercy didn't realize. You're flawed. That's why I didn't like you. You're a half measure, pretty much, because like I based you on the Bizarro DNA stuff. So you're unstable. And even that Lex says, I can try and help you, and we finally get the, hey, look, they're alive. They're finally in the game now. We're gonna fight, help them fight. We get the crazy evil Lex kind of thing stuff. Really done well. I'll even have the head bashing, the blood. Because Superman's still kind of like having problems. And then Lois goes all nuclear with her powers. She's like, stay away from my freaking family, blah, blah, blah. Because she's angry, she's temperamental. At the end, we start seeing like the evil Lex clone starting to break down, becoming more like a Bizarro clone. Even his costume and his shield, the ass is like kind of like destroyed a little bit. And at the end, because Superman won't do what he needs to do, the good Lex blows the other evil Lex head off.
Had to be done.
It had to be done. Yes. But
are you listening, Batman?
So my question is he a villain again? Because he murdered?
No. What did he kill? He was a construct made out of a Bizarro.
But Superman doesn't believe that.
That's because Superman's a giant P word.
Yes, I don't care. I say the word.
Little child cat.
Yeah. So at the end, though, of course, everyone's focusing on this, like, oh no, my mojo's gone. That's right. Zod's coming back, baby. Also, we got to deal with Superman, I guess. Remember he has a red kryptonite infection going on? So eventually that's going to come back to bite him in the ass. He's been trying, because every time he gets very emotional, angry, it starts to manifest. But this was a wraparound cover. At least. So I think it was supposed to be. It looks like it is, yeah. Because I saw the back here, I'm like, oh, they're gonna have the rest of these guys show up. They didn't, and there was no mention of Perry White.
Right, good, because this issue didn't need any of that.
So not all these people on the cover, but it didn't. It was a clickbait cover. So, all right, number 3 for this week, Green Lantern. Honestly. We had a I guess first appearance of Modern Age, Dan Garrett, last issue. Dan Garrett is in the backup story being rescued by Connor Kent and Kyle and the other girl I forget, who was supposed to be Cassie, but the DC said no.
Well, that was the backup story. That was in this story.
No, but I mean, I count it as the backup story to this story. Like there's
the plot.
Yeah, the plot.
Yeah, I can understand if that word's anathema to you, because comics haven't had them in so long.
I know. Well, it's like whenever I watched Monolith, there was the flashback story, and then there was like the present story.
Oh God, watch Paradise. Flashbacks within flashbacks wrapped up in a flashback.
So the dude's back. I forgot his name is already because that's how irrelevant this character is to me. But if you're a Green Lantern fan,
What character are you talking about?
Hector Hammond. Yeah, I always forget his name because like he's not that important to me. Like Sinestro is always been a much bigger villain. This guy was like, oh, this is the guy who's deformed in the Ryan Reynolds movie. That's it. I mean, because I admit I didn't read a lot of DC. I'm reading more Superman stuff. So Green Lantern is new to me. Reading this, I only recognize characters from what I saw in the movie. That was my first like experience with Green Lantern, other than Jon Stewart in the Justice League cartoon. But so Hector Hammond has his powers back. He's been stealing it from some of the meta, or I guess meta humans, call them on DC. He'd been working with the DEO, and it turns out he's just basically been slowly been taking over the DEO and controlling Bones stuff. But even after they kick his ass, and then like I forgot that. Here's one thing. I forgot that what's her name? A Dove can like do a solar flash or solar flare and blind people. I didn't know that was one of her abilities. But because cause a distraction allows ECC allows Carol to get behind him and fill his mind with love, like temporarily control him until basically get Hal just comes in and knocks him out, and then like he was like, and then he get one of the girls asks him, he's like, was that really necessary? And he's like, and he says that Dove is like, yeah, but no, but
did you have to hit him?
Yeah,
No,
but
I didn't
it felt
have
good.
to.
It felt good. So we get Dan Garrett's being rescued from the Reach. I don't remember the Reach at all. I remember like I said, like I don't know who the Reach are. Are they predominantly are they from anything in the DC
I'm
comics?
guessing that's something that you probably would have needed to have more carefully read Green Lantern for the last, New 52 on.
So because
doesn't ring a bell to me.
like I know the Light and maybe the Reach, and I think they might have mentioned the Young Justice cartoon. It sounds familiar, but so they free him. They're just trying to help him get him out of there while Connor and Kyle take on the Reach. Meanwhile, we have Bones sitting down with Carol and Hal, and Bones is like, it's like, well, I guess I should start, as director DO, you have illegally entered. He's like, fuck that shit. I'm in charge of the universe. This sector over here. You answer to me. It's like you guys fucked up. I should throw you all here right now if I wanted to. Take the whole entire base, throw it in, bring it to us to Oa, and lock you guys up. You had agreement with Oa, and you guys fucked up. I love this version of Hal, where he puts him in place. He's, like I said, this could have went a totally different direction if this had been a couple years earlier with Hal Jordan or anybody else writing it.
Because Bones is such a smug prick.
Yes.
And seeing him get dressed down like that, what does he say after like said, how can I help? Or what was it he says?
Yeah. He's like, what can I help you with?
Yeah.
And I love what Carol says, like, I know he could be a bit much, but please don't try him. He'll do it. And what's worse, he'll smile the entire time. This was cool. Because I was like, Dan Garrett was the first Blue Beetle, wasn't he?
Yes.
So now he grabs for what we know from seeing these little beetles here. That's what's on Jaime Reyes' back. And I thought this was probably the coolest part, other than that, how putting Bones in place. He adapts to it and then comes and saves the day. And they're like, Kyle's like, Dan? No, not right now. You can call me Silver Scarab. I don't think Silver Scarab has been used before, has it?
I recognize the name, but I don't know the context, and it makes sense. We don't need a third Blue Beetle. Yes. But, it might have been a Golden Age character. I'm honestly not sure.
Might have been, but I mean, that's cool. If we get more Dan Garrett story. This other thing, too. I was like, so where's Hal and we get not the Spectre, but the Hal and the Phantom Stranger. And then we get some. Who is the angel guy in here? Zoriel.
Zoriel. It used to be a member of the Justice League.
Okay. Like they go to his house and they end up like using his key to unlock it, and it's kind of like if you've ever like read like Witchblade. Remember they had those the skeleton keys, the sickle keys. It opened up a portal. That's what this does. And now they're going to hell. I forgot what they're going to hell for. Like I didn't, and I don't think they even explained it really. They said they're going to hell or something. I know they're trying to collect the the stuff to recreate the lanterns. Because I know that's what's been going on in the previous issues, and even in this issue, that's what Kyle and Connor were there to steal some nymph metal from the Reach, but they came across Dan Garrett and decided to help free him. So meanwhile, we got Mr. Sorrow, Mr. Sunshine comes up, and he's gonna go to hell too. And what's really insane about this is that they come across a character we haven't seen since the Justice League International days. At least I haven't. And it's Nord, who's been in hell. But is it really him, though?
I don't know, but I let out a bwahaha in his honor when I read that page.
Yeah, I was like, I hope it's really him and not like someone named, because like, come on, honor Keith Giffen and all that stuff, like at least make him like a good guy and bring him back, because that'd be awesome if Nord joins the Green Lanterns again. So thought that was really cool. That's why it was my number 3. But I had actually no, that wasn't my number 3. That was my. Wait. I had an extra book in the stack. That was my number 3. My number 2 is Superman: The Last Days of Lex Luthor. Number 3, the final issue. Got the Christianity cover. This is the magazine book of Brian Hitch doing the art on this. Fantastic job. And this, I gotta say, this story ended way different than I thought it was going to end. I'll admit, I don't like the ending of All-Star Superman. I don't like any time where Superman dies at the end. To me, it's just like it's been done for, and I like happy endings. This was a bittersweet ending, but I thought it was still good though. When you find out more with basically with, and this is a huge spoiler, the reason that Lex is dying is because Brainiac altered him, his body, his cells. That he steals the solar energy from Clark, because he knew Clark was going to try and save him or somebody. So he figured, well, what better? He's like, and Lex is like, why did you choose me? He's like, well, you always said you wanted to kill Superman. I gave you the tools to do it, And he's like, yeah, but now I'm expensive my life, you asshole. So Lex is dying and getting worse as the issue goes on, and Superman doesn't have any powers anymore. So he ends up in there at the Fortress of Solitude. Brainiac is making his move. He's already got all the heroes in his little bottles, so he's ready to take over the Earth. And Lex and Superman pretty much we're gonna work together one final time. Superman grabs the Legion ring and flies them out of there, while Lex constructs something to help destroy or counter basically everything that's going on with Brainiac stuff. I thought that was really cool. And here's Zach. So, yeah. So honestly, I thought this was a really good book for the final issue. Brian Hitch's art is done really well on this. I look at these 2-page spreads in the magazine. I love that.
He is the best artist working today.
Did he work on Superman Unchained or Unbound or what it was?
I'm gonna say that was Jim Lee.
That was Jim Lee, as far as I remember.
Because yeah, I want to. Has Brian Hitch ever drawn like the Brainiac stuff before?
I'm sure he has.
Yeah, because it's really good. And then I gotta say, this is like, because it's Black Label. There's a reason for this, because when you find out what actually what Brainiac has been doing, Brainiac has been taking people's bodies, and he says like, you know what? I learned something about humans. They are good for something. Their memories hold data. So he's literally taking humans, and keeping their brains and keeping them alive, and then storing data on them. Like that is like straight up freaking horror movie, because you see, if they showed it in one of these things. What page was it? Where you see an actual freaking brain. Meanwhile, at the 10th point, you see where Lex is like he can't stand anymore. But he said one last thing. He's like, I built this to transfer my like this reverse our genes. That way you can store solar energy. I'm not basically storing anymore for you. And Lex is but Clark's like, you'll die. He's like, yeah, what does it matter? So at the very last second, they decide to do it, and Superman helps build the machine for him. And at the end, Superman does something I never would have thought. And Zach, put your headphones on. I'm hearing echoes.
Oh.
We think because we're told that Lex is going to die originally. Lex's own words, I'm going to die. And look, Breen. Oh, what is that over there, Breen? I think that's 4K.
Hey, where the fuck is 4K? Damn, I can't do, I can never do that anymore because the Lesters are always around.
I know, right? Turns out Superman transfers his abilities to Lex, giving him Superman powers. I thought this was so great. I was like, and I'm doing like, and Lex is like, you're kidding, right? He's like, I was on the ropes. Not the sentient being in the galaxy, not one sentient being in the galaxy would have blamed you if you'd gone through with my plan. Why did you? He's like, coming from a genius, that's an exceptionally stupid question. I figured you'd be thrilled. Thrilled? I'm appalled. My God, it's not enough to force me to watch people worship, but now you made me into you? But at the end, Lex agrees to help me. He's like, the enemy of my enemy is still my enemy, so I'll help you to defeat, Brainiac. And Brainiac is pretty much they do a two-prong plan where Superman flies and he's going to destroy the machine because they theorize that how the main ship is being powered by stealing energy from the sun and transferring it to them, the ship. So Superman's going to destroy that access part to the ship while Lex basically goes against Brainiac. And I thought it was like really cool. Like the whole fight scene of this was just fun. So much detail, so many panels. And normally I'm not a fan of these rectangles, but they just work in this. And the end, like Superman goes through, he's like, he's like, Lex, I know you can hear me, but I'm gonna use the last of my abilities and pretty much then one final shot. I'm gonna sever the machine, get ready, and at the end, like you see, like Lex flying with the Brainiac by the sun. He's like, dude, and he's like, hey, it's like I doubt someone's ever used his heat vision inside the old soul here. I mean, why would he? It's redundant. He's like, except at this intensity over juice this much, my eyes are generating from the next level up from a measly heat, gamma radiation, and it's going to cut through that stupid force field like it was a paper bag. He ends up destroying Lex, or Lex destroys Brainiac, and you see like the crater, and you see Lex is like, it's like, look at this, I got his head. He's like, don't worry. He's like, and he's like, and he's like, and see, and Superman's like, Luther, I'm warning you, drop that. He could still be dangerous. He's like, no, he's done. He's like, well, then, like, what now? He's like, well, Superman's like, you've been given a second chance at life, Lex, to determine the kind of man you're going to be forward. How about a king of the world, emperor of the galaxy, lord of all space and time? The possibilities are infinite, aren't they? Superman's like, I seriously hope not, But at the end, he's like, and then like Lex Luthor, he's like, looks over at the Brainiac. He's like, dude, I can prepare me. I can help you. Blah blah blah. He's like, No, no thanks. I belong here. I beat you. And of course, there's it was always a thing. There's a self-destruct mode because Brainiac's a dick. Predictable that. And so basically, when that explodes on the moon, and it says, and that was the last anyone ever saw of Lex Luthor. And Superman lives out the rest of his life as a human. I thought that was interesting. I was like, really? That's why they're going with that. He didn't die, but he announces and all that he's no longer be the last time you see me, and he just spends his life being Clark Kent. Like, and obviously, like, this is a what if, if he did that, and at the end he remembers like him with the childhood with the Lex, looking up at the asteroids, and that's what he does. Eventually, if they were ever to follow the story, Superman could get his powers back, whatever. They could rekindle whatever, but it's like, I thought that was actually a good ending. Kind of bittersweet because, Superman loses his abilities at the very end of this, but I thought it was really, really good.
But he finally did the impossible. He got through to Lex.
Yes. And Lex sacrificed himself.
Yeah.
Pretty much, He vaporized. And you actually see it. What's really cool, I'm going to find that page. They actually show you what Lex did. Yeah. Lex actually I thought they showed it in here. Did I miss it? Where Lex? Yeah, here. Lex's body right here. Like, he's carrying him, and then it just turns into bones, disintegrates.
That's like the way he says, "Tell no one."
Yeah, tell no one that I did this for you. But there was another page here though where they actually show the human brain though. I thought that was really interesting when they showed the memory stuff. I think it's the beginning. But where was it? I saw. In front of that page. Yeah, right here. The brain. Like he's like, brain, like I'll keep the humans alive, but only in brain format, and I'll just use them as memory stuff. And I was just like, that is disgustingly wicked and horrible. So, and shout out to Imperial Goddess, who's following us over on Twitch. She's also on YouTube, and right now she is live on both right now. So, once we're done here, you guys can go check her channel out.
What makes you think we're ever going to be done?
Oh, we will be done.
I was about to say, it's after 9. Normally by now it's Jeff's or
I'm going to point out an hour ago, Vegma said, this might be a short one.
Well, the reason I went longer because we started a little later too.
Oh, did y'all?
And the key phrase there was "might be."
But we're still.
Well, because Jeff, you hadn't shown up the 15 minutes into the show, so we figured it was going to be a short one.
Well, it was a good week for comics, so
It was a good week. That's true.
If we were on
Big
Lebowski, the dude would say the dude abides.
Yeah. Final issue, number 1, best issue of the week.
Zach, have you seen Big Lebowski?
No, I've been told I need to.
Of course you have.
I have a Fortnite skin that looks just like him with the sweater and or the robe.
Poser.
I'm trolling.
There's a really big fan conspiracy theory about
And this is why it goes longer, because people see
I know, and I'm complicit, so I'm going to shut up now.
the Steve Buscemi character. He's connected to a bunch of his different roles.
Brain, you said you didn't get a chance to get this?
I will get it next week, though.
Oh my gosh, this is just so much fun. Art's a little rough at certain points, but it starts off basically like it's like a hot summer, in New York, and there's a detective there, and she's ice cubes up, and she's looking at this. And I gotta say this: if you're squeamish, look away, because this is Predator. It gets gory.
And Marvel's overdoing it with the Predator stuff. I mean,
and
Wolverine, Black Panther, now Spider-Man. Then it's going to be
Wolverine was great. Black Panther was not needed. Spider-Man, dear God, this is
Black
Spider-Man.
Panther kind of makes sense. I kind of like Black Panther.
Spider-Man and Spider-Man. This is a Spider-Man story with like a Predator in like a story in it because like I said, this is a Red Band story without the Red Band pricing and the
I have to
label.
say that is actually kind of Red Band worthy.
Yeah. So she's talking. The detective's talking to like this guy in a hazmat. He's taking photos with his phone, and then next thing you know, she's like, "Wait, who was I talking to?" It was Spider-Man in the hazmat suit taking photos for the Daily Bugle with his little smartphone.
Daily Bugle.
And he called, and I love this because he's like, "Hey, Jonah, Mr. Jameson, it's Peter. I got something." And I love this. Just Jonah, classic Jonah yelling, and just, it's like, "The last time you promised me something, Parker, it was a fucking neighborhood puppy in Parade, Queens, And he's like, "You think it's hot outside? It's really freaking hot in here. Our feet are on fire, and like, this paper is barely any budget anymore. He's like, you're 5 canceled subscriptions away from losing your job." He's like, I don't want good news. I want bad news. I want fear. Fear gets clicks. Clicks get revenue. He's like, "How about a mass murder?" He's like, "Do you have photos? You better have photos." So I'll be there in 5 minutes. Traffic's light. I'm going the long way. And then he ends up getting a fight with some of these criminals here. The guys rob a bank, and they manage to. He sees his kids. They're playing of course, because it's summer, New York. Kids are playing with the fire hydrant. And the car's coming to him. He rescues them, gets them out of the way. Meanwhile, the bank robbers end up getting into their loot. They're going to stash the loots. The guy's like, "Hey, guys, where are you?" And, he sees the bodies kind of stacked there. He's like, "What the heck?" And I guess now I got to tell you right now, this is where it gets really gory.
Yeah,
look away
too much because I actually want to get this book.
I'll just say this. It's the last I'm going to show.
All right.
Because I know Henry wanted to see some of the stuff.
And I want to see if MJ looks like MJ in this book.
The Predator, it's called Skinner, rips the guy's face off and then kills him. MJ, yeah,
he's not a very nice guy, this Predator fella.
I know, right? Yeah, and I'll just say that the face does come back because he's gonna wear it.
Sweet.
This is not a Spider-Man book. I'm sorry. Spider-Man should not be gory. This is something else.
This is Mary Jane, who's on a subway right now, and she's reciting because she wants to be she's reciting the lines that "Don't turn the light on," and then the lights go off the subway. She's basically.
I see a redheaded boy. Oh, Mary Jane on the side. Okay.
That's Mary Jane right there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
With the headband. She's in this right now. She's in the subway place right now, and so that's Mary Jane's in this, and they kind of imply that she kind of is that they are dating. He's like he goes there. He's like he comes in there at the place, and he's like, "MJ, I think I got a long night at me." So this is like they are a couple. I don't know if they're married. Because I didn't check to see if there was a ring on her finger or not in the previous.
Hey, you know what? Was there a line in there where Peter said, "Hey, can you and Paul invite me over for that great whatever the fuck meal you make that is better than having sex with my ex-wife?"
Like I said,
then who cares? They're married.
Yeah. Good
enough.
Literally, wow. Yeah, Jackson, I've been waiting for you. Where the hell you been? I knew I go longer when you're here. Just for you.
He love you long time, Jackson.
Marcelo Fierra is the artist with Jay Leestein and Frank DeRamata.
There are some panels in there that are fantastic. This guy, I don't think he's there yet, but he's going to be.
I'll just say that this is the layout for the end here. And there is another character that pops in this. I'll just say he likes to hunt. That's it.
He makes sense.
Yeah. So that's my number one book of the week. I originally was not gonna get this. I was like, oh no, it's a Marvel book and it's like $6. I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that much.
That's what chased me off. It's $6.
But then I remembered, and then I saw it's Benjamin Percy. This is the guy who did the Wolverine Predator, which was awesome.
He does all the Predator books.
Well,
I think he did the Black Panther one too.
The Black Panther one
Percy,
sucked.
when he's on,
Yeah.
is good a writer as Marvel still
Yeah.
has, with the exception of
This is
Jonathan Hickman.
3-issue. I think it's only gonna be 3 issues because I don't see anything after League of Comic Geeks after the 3rd issue.
They probably don't need any more than 3 issues.
Honestly, they don't. But like I said, yeah, you get the cover here.
You know, I'm a little surprised by that Predator gets top billing.
Well,
That is, you know what? That is surprising, actually.
no, it makes sense because it's this Predator. It's the same Predator probably in every single issue.
Well, that's fine, but like I said, Spider-Man is the flagship character, and I can see him getting billed over the Black Panther.
Yeah.
But I'm actually surprised that the Wolverine series, was it Predator versus Wolverine?
Yeah.
Oh, then I guess they're sticking
So
to
that's
that.
so like I said, this was my number 1 book of the week. It's a little pricey. I will not lie. I did read it online first because I don't want to spend $6 on something blindly, especially at Marvel. And I like I say, it just shocked me. And this is my favorite Marvel book of the month.
Well, it's okay to criticize Marvel. Zach still does.
Okay.
Zach, Marvel and trans creators.
I was getting scared there. I thought maybe I was becoming
everything else though. You have to. Everything is awesome.
Wait, are we talking about me or
no, Richard?
Oh,
yeah. It's not all about you, Zach.
well, he said Zach. That's my Christian name.
So it's your Christian name, but what's your other name then?
So if that's your
That's my
Christian name,
government name.
I was going to say, what's your government name? If that's
My slave name.
Do you have any back
sure.
issues today, sir?
No, I don't have any back issues today, but if I sit here for long enough, I will.
I hear that.
Yeah. All right,
Jeff, you want to go next? So we can, in case your knee taps out on you.
Okay.
Or in case you need to leave for any other reason. If you need help coming up with one, I've got a list.
Yes.
And if your knee taps
I
out
mean,
you
good to see you, buddy.
Yeah,
What you got for us?
Good to not see you up in the corner as well.
All right, I'll just for you.
All right. Good. Hey, we both got our 4 eyes on.
Well, that's because he's losing his religion.
No, it's because I got my eyes dilated today.
No.
You know what's real fun when you have your eyes dilated is trying to drive while you're doing
Well, that's what I said.
Look at that. Bring me glasses.
I said, is it okay to drive? Well, the distance will be fine. Everything was a fucking blur.
Well, I was doing went for an eye exam and I said, we're going to dilate your eyes. I said, don't you usually tell us this before so we can get someone like, yeah. I said, I've got to drive about like half a mile down the street.
It's no big deal anymore.
I mean, it's an eye exam, isn't it? That's the whole point.
Yeah, but I was just like into the sun. I'm trying to drive the house like holy.
Don't drive into the sun.
Well, I had to get home. It's like
they gave us these little Jey Uso looking things. Under my glasses if I need them. But
you mean the old lady from Deadpool?
But it was
I'll be back.
Overcast was an understatement for the drive home. So
no, but I was doing it right into the sun, which was...
I didn't have to worry about that today.
Here comes the sun. Oh shit!
All right, so I have 6.
All right.
Number 6. It's the only one that I haven't read. It's just that I might read it a little later. I don't know. I don't know if this is a reprint of the original number 1 or if it's a new thing. Yeah, but it's just figured I never read them, and it's also the squirrel cover, so I figured I'd get it. Like I said, that's the only one I haven't read. I'll read it later.
I know there was one for like $5, I think, like that.
Number 5.
$20. Yeah.
And other than, I don't know if you got this one or not. The Mummy number 2.
No, we dropped that.
Hell no.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Is it a lesbian love story yet?
Well, it has the making of it because one of them is in the girl's head. So like this is like inhibiting her head or something like that. So I don't know if they can get physical or anything like that, but
I think I'll stick with the Brendan Fraser movie.
So no.
Brandon Zach, Creature from the Black Lagoon, saying, "Shoo, off the hook."
Yeah, up until this, Creature of the Black Lagoon was the low man on the totem pole.
Yep.
That was not a great series. Ram V, I love Ram V, but he kind of let me down there.
Number 4. Minor Arcana. I think this is the last issue. It sort of set up like it might be, but it also seemed like it could go on. Because they resolved some of the storylines, and it says maybe I could stay and wait for it to find me, because he was talking about happiness. So it's kind of an ambiguous ending, so it's just like it could end here, but not. It was kind of a fun series. It was Jeff Lemire. Number 3. You went over this. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Number 2. It was actually kind of a good series.
Nice.
I liked this one a lot better than I liked the stuff before.
Well, that was unlimited, so you didn't like the world's finest.
Oh no, I mean the unlimited stuff has just been kind of weird, but this was actually a little better. So, and number 1, I don't know if you may have done this before I got here.
Yeah, we did. Maybe you can talk about it, what you liked about it, what you didn't like.
I liked it. Of course, I saw someone saying something about this in the chat. It did seem a little weird that Batman was using a gun, even though it wasn't.
There was a lot of wrong with it, but
yeah,
like I said, I wasn't as offended by it as some of the bigger Batman fans are.
I mean,
because
yeah,
I'm not a Batman fan. I don't really read a lot of stuff, but as me and Breen talked about it, and Breen will talk about it again when he gets his turn.
I mean, he's using a gun. I don't even know if it had, and also, when did Leslie Tompkins get? I don't know. When is this starting? Is this? I thought this was later in continuity, and she's so
This is
young.
out of continuity. That's all I can tell you.
No, what they've done is when they introduced her, she was an old lady,
right?
Just like when they introduced Aunt May, she was 107. But as the years went by, and it was obvious that the character was going to stick around. I've seen it in soaps. One Life to Live hired this fat, pudgy dude to be a father of 3 hot daughters, and they wanted to do something with the dad, so they replaced him with Frank Converse. Remember him from Moving On? The big hunky truck driver?
No.
So they do it in comics too. They just kind of de-age them. So it's not an out of continuity thing. She is significantly, unless they want to have her flirt with Alfred, then they kind of make her age appropriate, but then her age kind of fluctuates depending on the situation.
Now there is one thing in here that I and this reminded me of something that I had brought up earlier. Let's see if I can find this really quick. When he goes to her, he's talking. When he's when he first gets there, he says something to the effect of, she's the only person, one of a couple of people that can speak to me like that. And I'm trying to find it or not, but anyway, but I don't know if you remember that part where he was sitting there.
Yeah.
And that's something that I was saying, that it was her and Alfred are the only 2 people that could basically sit there and say just about anything they needed to, and dude says, fuck up, sit down. And
that part they got right. That was one of the very few things they got right in that issue.
Yep. And that's it, except for this weekend. I'm gonna be meeting Flash Gordon again, and
so
Jay.
Just out of curiosity, do you ever buy back issues, or are you just pretty much trades and whatever comes out new?
I do back issues every once in a while. In fact, I'm gonna be going on a hunt this weekend at Comic-Con. I'm looking for I want to try and get some old ECs. I don't think I'll be able to get any of the first run stuff.
Yeah, it's the most beat up Aces High is pushing $100 now.
Yeah. But I'm gonna be looking for some House of Secrets and stuff like that, and maybe some other stuff.
How about House of Mystery?
House of Mystery House.
That's foreshadowing.
But so I do like the older stuff is really good. But right now it's just I'm running out of room for all my comics and stuff. So it's just easier at my age just to sit here and go trade. Because
God bless Dark Horse Comics for the EC reprints.
Oh yeah.
Alrighty then.
But I am gonna be hitting the dealers at there and see if I get those are gonna be my main things, trying to find some of the old House of Mysteries and old horror stuff.
Well, look forward to seeing what you come up with next week.
Yep, that'll be fun.
Alrighty then.
And to show you some of the autographs, because I get to meet there's going to be the chick from the Goonies, Flash Gordon, what's the guy from the next door neighbor in Office Space, Diedrich Bader.
He voices Batman in Brave and the Bold.
Yes, he does.
Awesome.
And also,
I think I can say this now. I think it's been long enough. He is the new best Batman voice.
He's also Oswald on Drew Carey Show.
Yep. That one of my. That's
It's all the Drew Carey Show.
But he's also going to have who's the Tick and Joe Swanson.
Patrick Warburton.
Yes, he's coming up.
Oh, I love Patrick Warburton.
I'm getting a photo up with him.
Well, we get to we can access Patrick Warburton on demand when Trusty streams with us.
Well, oh man, I was gonna try.
He's actually doing a comedy show about a block and a half down the street from here in about half an hour.
He just has the best voice. I would love to have.
One of my favorite things he did was
I can't do it. God, dog, I psyched myself out.
One of my favorite things he did was him in Ted 2 going to a Comic-Con dressed as the Tick and beating up on all those people at the Comic-Con.
I liked him as Kronk. Squeak, squeak, squeakity. Squeak, squeakums. That's his best role.
Oh, hey, Zach, you pissed off Jackson Roykirk.
I said the best living Batman voice, Jackson.
I mean, it's easy to do, but
But yeah, Patrick Warburton's great. I love him. He's got a great voice.
I'll say that. Right. So he did have probably the best card. Well, outside of Batman animated series,
outside of Kevin Conroy, who is dead.
Yeah,
that is why I said he is the best living Batman voice.
I know. I'll just say this: even with Conroy, it was alive or dead, or whatever. I'm just saying, Brave and the Bold was the second best cartoon that came out.
I would actually watch it over the animated series.
All right, and say hello to Celeste. She's watching you now.
So now you can rage on something.
He said hello to her 45 minutes ago.
Yeah. All right. Show on the road. My first book is one I should have got last week, but because of shipping delays, they just got it this week. I did get I Like Popeye issue number 4. You guys should be reading this. If you like Popeye or you like manga and anime battles, this is a great series. You get in this Bluto and Popeye having that classic anime trope of rivals who are on the same side. Some really fun fights. Olive Oil comes from she's a descendant of witches now, which is interesting. But this is just a lot of fun. I wish this was ongoing. It certainly feels like it's been one. It's taken like a year to get 4 issues out, but that's neither here nor there. It's a great issue. It's from Massive Comics. Y'all should be checking that out. All right. I said I wasn't going to get this one because I was done with it, but my shop didn't have the silent mission of Roadblock G.I. Joe issue. So I did get the next Green Arrow. This is issue number 23. It's closing up. It's about to wrap up the whole Water Killers story arc. This is probably the best issue so far. It's definitely got the most action. The cult has captured the police detective that Ollie's been working in. They're about to poison her by drowning her in the toxic water supply. So Ollie shows up. He uses the boxing glove arrow. He uses the ice arrow. I didn't think they'd use the boxing glove arrow. It seems too cartoony for the kind of Grell-esque serious vibe they're going for. But yeah, this was good. A lot of action in this. I think next issue is the wrap up of this story arc. This was actually good. I'm glad I picked this one up. Then we get this is Justice League Unlimited, issue number 6, part 2 of the We Are Yesterday storyline. Honestly, this was kind of a step down. I mean, I understand for storytelling purposes, this was important to have because it kind of explains how Grodd was able to get the Legion of Doom back together, how he got Airwave to kind of infiltrate the league. So it's important. There just wasn't a ton of action in it, which, you know, it's kind of the main reason I'm reading Justice League. But it's important. It's an important part of the storytelling, though. So, and of course, the art is also fantastic. You know, as I come to expect from Dan Mora. Or no, this wasn't even Dan Mora. This was a different guy. This was Cantrell. Someone Cantrell, not Chris Cantrell, I don't think. Yeah, Christopher Cantwell. No. He was part of the plot. I'm sorry. Travis Moore is the one I'm thinking of who did the artistry. So that is Justice League. We got this book, y'all. This book. You need to be reading this. G.I. Joe, number 6, Williamson. Just, this is a great finale for the first story arc, ending with Duke and Cobra Commander meeting each other, fighting each other, kind of sizing each other up, getting to know each other through dialogue. Actually, the similarities between the two, Cobra Commander kind of explores them. It's a really interesting read, that double-page spread. Just a great issue. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Joes, like how things grow from here. The final couple of pages kind of give you a little hint as to where things are going to start going as well, which is just, I've been waiting for this. This is what I've been waiting for from Skybound for like 2 years. So we're finally getting to the fun stuff, the meat and potatoes. So yeah, not that it hasn't been good so far, but this is just like about to take it a step further, which is great. All right. And Williamson batted 2 for 2 today. He knocked both issues out of the park. This was fantastic. Kind of misleading. There is no Jimmy and Silver Banshee. There is no Supergirl. There is no Perry White. It is Superman, Lex, and Lois. A little bit of Mercy thrown in here too. But you got, the Zell or the XL clone that Lex Luthor made. Kind of a really unhinged, violent Luthor clone with Superman's powers that, fights Superman. Superman goes crazy. His red kryptonite cells start acting up. He starts to Hulk out almost. Lois goes after the clone after he threatens Clark and Lois's family. That's fun to read. There's just a lot of stuff going on in here. And I think, it's been a great run so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they have planned next with Superman. Oh, and in case you missed it on Twitter, Lois Lane lost her powers. Some people are happy about it. Some people aren't. I'm just in the camp of it was always going to happen. I think it means Zod's going to be showing up at some point, which I'm excited for. And finally, best issue of the week, in my opinion, is the great one, Jeremy Adams, Green Lantern. I lost track of how many applause-worthy moments were in here. Like, if this was a movie, I think there were 4 or 5 times I would have applauded. You've got Hector Hammond versus Green Lantern and Star Sapphire. You've got Mr. Bones. Not really applaud-worthy, but I'd be like seeing Mr. Bones pop up where they put him. The whole bit with Dan Garrett, and he's the new Silver Scarab now. That's fun. Just seeing Kyle Rayner and Connor fight bugs like Starship Troopers. That was fun. And then Hal Jordan taking the Phantom Stranger and Zariel down to hell was wild. I did not know that was going to be happening. And then they run into freaking Nort of all Green Lanterns. I was not expecting. I was thinking maybe it'd be the Spectre because Hal was the Spectre, but no, it's freaking Nort. Like,
so you saw what's coming next issue, so you were just off by 1 issue.
I mean, geez and peas. I tweeted Jeremy Allen. I was like, dude, how many Easter eggs can you put in this thing? Like, good lord,
A whole basket.
A whole basket of Easter eggs.
I really hope that it actually is going to be Nort and not just a Spectre posing as him.
I don't think the Spectre would pose those, Nort, would he?
Well, Spectre's supposed to the next issue. That's why.
Oh, he's in the next issue? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know Hal Jordan's looking for somebody. Do we really think Hal Jordan is looking for Nort? I mean...
Well, if they're rebuilding the Green Lanterns...
No.
Not
Zach's
even.
right. Yeah, it's a...
Now
I'm kind of bummed. Now it's not my number one book of the week. It's all the way down next to the bottom. Because as the title of the one Justice League story, it's all been for Nort.
It's all been for Nort. I loved it.
That was
great.
Geek,
that whole Hector Hammond fight was just a blast. I loved reading that. That was great.
Okay. I mean, the Silver Scarab, yeah, I thought that was really cool. For me, the best was him just talking to like, shut the fuck up, Owens. Like, that was the best thing I've ever read in comics in a while.
Oh yeah, Hal and Star doing the good cop, bad cop thing with Mr. Bones. That was fun.
All right. I picked up the Brave and the Bold. And
I think we read that issue.
If you look up, said, tell me Wonder Girl isn't getting her first, that look.
Is that the one with, like, is it the man or the teenager that turns into, like, the giant monster? I feel like we heard that story.
It's the Separated Man. It
Oh,
was created by that kid in the town, and it got used for nefarious purposes. So he was in jail, and then his cellmate reactivates him.
Okay.
All right. I think there's 7 left. So, number 10. This piece of shit.
I thought some people loved it. What changed? What happened?
So it's mixed online, which is hilarious.
All right. We start with Batman takes the most homicidal maniac, mass murderer in the history of the world in which he lives, unless you count Cheshire, who blew up an entire country, but I don't know if that's in this continuity, to the woman who basically saved his life when his parents were murdered. Now, Joker kills everything he comes into contact with. So, running the risk of him getting, just enough to kill Leslie, but he still takes her to him. And that's after risking everything to save this mass murdering piece of shit. Then, later in the issue, when one of his former Robins, who was killed on his watch by this piece of shit, Batman pulls out a gun and shoots him in the side of the head. Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, he took Jason's gun.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. He took a gun. This Jeff Loeb knows better, and I'm sorry, you don't get a pass, Jeff. This was absolute shit.
Wait, so Leslie is dead and Jason?
No, Leslie's not dead.
No.
But Joker could have woken up for 2 seconds and killed Leslie, but Batman moving heaven and earth to save the Joker, when all that does is condemn hundreds and thousands of people to death. Do you really have to put the supreme effort? And for everybody that says that's what makes Batman, I said no, that's what makes Batman an idiot.
Do you remember?
This book was just
so do you remember Leslie was a doctor in Gotham?
She was not
clinic.
Gotham.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, this was, like I said, colossal disappointment. And yeah, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to finish the story, honestly. It was that bad.
Wow.
Next, Flash Gordon Quarterly. Nothing special. I mean, just 3 kind of nice stories. We have father and son, not Flash and his son, and
Only a number 3 though.
A story of how Flash and Dale met, which was kind of like a modern retelling of it. But this is fun. I mean, it's that universe. It's not as good as what Jeremy Adams does, but I like it. And Defenders of the Earth starts back up next week, and that's worth reading. So next, Hornsby and Halo. It's where their guide takes them to heaven and hell to give them an idea of what their future looks like, and neither one of them are real keen on the idea of ruling their respective realms. So this is just fun. And I said, I just enjoy this. It's it's like an all ages book that occasionally goes to hell. But it's Peter J. Tomasi, and so I said,
kids have to read the Saturday Morning Adventures with Ninja Turtles. You can read the Hainesville Hornby.
And now for the DC books, that which did not suck. Justice League Unlimited, we've pretty much talked that to death, but I liked it. It's not, is Airwave dead? Probably, but
he was turned into a meat pile.
Yeah, this was
spray.
This is fun.
Yeah, that was pretty gruesome. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mark Waid is, like I said, he I can't take it away from him. He is a good comic book writer.
Because he said, I'll erase you and then no one will remember you exist.
Number 3, Green Lantern. Excellent book. Just terrific. I love the scene with Hal and Bones. We talked about that before you got there, Zach.
Yeah.
And just hearing Bones, because I've been reading Bones going back to Infinity Inc. 40 years of this character.
Mm-hmm.
And just to hear somebody basically, tell him to go F himself. And and then laying it out to where even Bones says, what can I do to help? Because it's like, he goes from eat shit, I'll do whatever I want to, what can I do to help?
The last time I thought Bones got talked to like that was on the Stargirl show.
Yeah, I said that's.
She was on the Star. He was, yeah.
This is the comic. So, number 2, Superman. This was great. This was everything I want. I said I keep reading each issue, going, when's the other shoe going to drop? It hasn't, and it might still be a while before it does, if it does. I love this version of Lex because it's something different. It truly is. I mean, I said even the other times he's, even in Rebirth, it's just like a different kind of Lex. I mean, this is probably the closest one to Rebirth Lex, but this satisfying ending. Lex doing what Superman wouldn't do, because again, Superman, that's his blind spot. I mean, the only version of Superman, I think, if I remember correctly, that ever did what had to be done was during the Byrne era, when he killed the Kryptonians in the Phantom Zone. Because if he didn't, they were going to kill millions. And like I said, that's a lesson Batman might want to learn someday. But very well done. And like I said, but my prediction, Lois has her powers back by page 3 of issue 26. Because I think they are going to save that for when Zod returns.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is just some kind of glitch, but we'll see. And number 1, just because it was just, pure Elseworlds fun. And a really, I hate Clark and Lex being childhood friends. I hate the whole, sniveling Clark that Mark Waid loves, but damn if this wasn't a great story. It doesn't hurt that, like I said, best artist working today did the art. So I said, Venkman, who has amazing retention, did a great job reviewing this. So that's a compliment. I said, he can read something and I can read something. He's gonna retain at least 50% more than I do. Maybe it's because he didn't pickle himself through his 20s. I don't know. And I have a handful of back issues.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Ah.
So, House of Mystery 230.
Cool.
See, that's why you were saying foreshadowing.
Yes.
Good stuff.
237.
Oh, you wouldn't be back issue bring without back issues.
No, I haven't really had any this year, so that's
right. You were losing your edge.
238. 241.
Wow, Mystery's really selling those books.
How much
Yes.
were these?
I'm going to start putting that in my short and sweet reviews on Twitter.
What
Mystery
was
sells this book.
price on those things? You know, were they? How bad were they?
Oh, I've had these for a while. I just
Oh.
pulled them out and read some, and so I figure I don't ever show back issues anymore. 243.
Ooh.
Yeah, Meta-Rock's trying to get all 304 Marvel Value Stamp books. I just want all the DC's comic salutes the bicentennials. I'm getting close, but a lot less work. Here's 240, 244. Now we switch over to Metal Men with a Ross Andrew cover and Gil Kane interior. Number 30.
Just holding the. Oh, I thought she was just holding a severed head.
And this is number 32. That's where the metal men get lonely, so Doc Magnus creates metal women for him and a metal man for Tina. And the girls turn out to be boss bitches. And Platinum wants nothing to do with Tina. So it kind of blows up in all their faces. But they sacrifice themselves at the end. Here's the Tales of Suspense 68.
Oh.
Nice. I love the platoon stance there.
No. Number 70.
Nice.
71.
You got a white spot on there.
And 72.
I mean, what could go wrong with that design of a robot? You know,
I know, right?
It's very functional. You have to turn in order to shoot the gun because the arms don't move.
But I want to say before I wrap this up, DC had more good books this week than Marvel does in a month.
Yeah, I know,
and
right?
It's not even close. I mean, and that's with Batman sucking through a straw. Because I said Green Lantern, Justice League, Superman, the Last Days of Lex Luthor. You said Green Arrow was good. I wouldn't read it with your money or your eyes, as long as unfortunately.
Yeah, he's can't quit Cantwell. That's all it is.
That's not Cantwell.
I don't know what Cantwell did.
What's the difference between Cantwell and
Condon?
Condon?
Condon.
Yeah.
Well, Cantwell just is a bad writer. Condon can't keep his politics out of his books now, and that was whoever. Like I said, maybe Sean Phillips' kid, Jacob Phillips, keeps him in line.
Yeah,
but I said that's. I'm a little nervous to read the next installment of that Texas Blood, if there ever is one, because he's lost all my trust. I don't care what his politics are. I just don't need him, getting shoved down my throat by, it's and again, before somebody says, but that's kind of who Ollie is. No, Ollie's a liberal. He's not a progressive. That's something that some writers don't get.
Yeah.
Oliver would fight Antifa. He wouldn't join them.
Well, that's what he does with this kid here. When he fights the leader of this cult, he tells him it's like, you didn't stop at, like, he basically chastises and calls him out for not being a solution. He's just creating more problems.
Well, I credit Chris Condon for that, at least.
And some of these people don't know the difference, and also some of them don't like just the regular liberals. They want it to go all the way over to like Bernie and AOC and stuff. They want that to be the direction. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Koga's been asleep on the couch the entire time we've been on. She gets up, jumps down the floor, makes it about 2.5 feet, and now she's sleeping on the floor.
So Defenders of the Earth #6 comes out next week.
That's a great life if you can get it.
That is
someone keeps a roof over your head, keeps you fed, and you can sleep 20 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm not jealous at all.
Right? I don't blame him.
You could be you could get yourself a sugar mama.
I have a
No, I meant
No, I was making
Green.
fun of the robot. I don't care what the name of the robot is, but thank you for telling me though.
No, I'm saying it's a great life. I mean,
No.
who wouldn't sleep 20 hours a day if they could get away with it?
He's referring to the chat.
I was talking to Henry.
No.
He's saying that the robot until suspense is called the sleeper. I said it was a dumb looking robot because little arms don't move. They're stuck in one position, so he'd have to like turn and just
Those
shoot.
are kind of what robots looked like in those days. That I realized that issue is 60 years old now.
Yep. Next week they're advertising the free comic book day stuff, but that doesn't come out until May.
Yep.
That was also kind of the same problem with the Ed 209 is, you couldn't move its arms and stuff like that.
Wow. Tower of Shadows Volume 1 hardcover comes out next week.
Yeah.
Just looking at the other ones. Ultimate Spider-Man Zone next week. We got the Wolverine Kitty Pride.
Not sure I'm going to be back for that one. Is Claremont writing it at least?
I think it is Claremont.
Because I saw the Alan Davis cover and I got really excited for a second.
It is Claremont.
But it's the artist, the interior artist is nobody I've ever heard of.
Damien Corsiro, yeah. But it is Claremont writing it, and it looks like it might be a 4-issue series.
Have you ever read the original?
A long time ago.
Excellent series. Zach, have you read it?
No.
I did. I had it. I don't know if I still have it, but I read it.
It's about Kitty going to Japan to save her father, who's gotten in dire straits with the Yakuza.
The other Facts Limit coming out next week is the Fun Comics.
Well, yeah. I think I've got a Millennium version of that, so I don't know if I'll pick that up.
Yeah.
See, if you're in the dire straits with somebody, all you have to do is play the guitar and make them all happy and stuff like that. So,
How's your knee?
Oh, it's fine.
Shit.
It's wonderful.
Let me help you with it.
CCs of water taken off of it yesterday. That was probably one of the reasons it hurt so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Jay.
Hey, Jay's here. You know what? Means we have to start over now. All right. Let me get my books.
So I guess if we're starting over again, that means I have to go and wait for about another half hour before I come in.
It'd be a heck of a half hour. I mean, yeah.
If you just pretend it, he's not here the whole entire time.
Oh, you know what? What's that type of physics that they're
I don't acknowledge his existence, so he's not here.
No, it was Brian. What's that physics where never mind.
I'm thankful that you would
quantum physics. That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, that's cool that you would consider asking a question of me that has physics anywhere near it. But you should know better.
Well, he didn't say physical. He said physics.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm just kind of assuming that you were,
It's the glasses.
I don't know much about physics myself, but I knew that. I figured you had knowledge. Despite
when Breen puts the glasses, he reverts back to Bruce Banner.
Indubitably. Jeffrey, please elucidate on your prior points.
No, it's just the quantum physics, stuff like if you don't, it's hard to explain, but yeah. Anyway, that's as much as elucidating.
If we could explain quantum physics, Jeff, we wouldn't be here right now.
And what Henry says, like, I was actually more excited seeing Eric's back issues than any of the new stuff, except for Predator. Predator and Spidey was cool though.
Well, Jeff, I said, I'm relatively jaded myself, but DC has really been doing some good work. I mean, not what it was in. I'm gonna beat Venkman to it this time, post crisis, but they're very good.
I'd say I like this Hal more than I like the Silver Age Hal.
Oh well, the Silver Age Hal was dull. That's why they killed him.
I know. So like for people who are like who can't get past the fact that they changed the character,
Well, a lot of people can't get past the fact that they turned him into a homicidal villain, which I gotta admit was I mean, it was the first time I think comics had done that. But you know, I guess I was starting to think that Barry Allen was gone for good because he stayed dead for 20 years, and
Honestly,
in
though,
comics, that's a long
that's
time.
the only one
Yeah.
that really should have stayed dead is Barry, because
I agree.
there was nothing really. There was no reason to bring him back. Wally was doing well in sales. Flash. You had Bart Allen as Kid Flash. I mean, what more did you really
The only
need?
reason to bring him back that I could think of, and I don't necessarily agree with him at all, either, is he was an original member of the Justice League. Just like whenever they kill off, Jean Grey,
Yeah.
Eventually you kind of want her to come back because you want all 5 of the original X-Men to be alive, but now Scott's a little Hitler, Bobby's a poof. I don't know what the hell Angel's
Oh my
doing.
gosh.
So, I
You
mean,
watch-
who cares now?
Did you watch Wes's video yesterday about that, about the X-Men?
No.
And then so Lansing and Kelly are leaving the
Oh
X-Men.
yeah, I did. Yeah, this is. But don't worry, this is Marvel. They'll get 5 more series that won't see issue 11.
Can we get Vita, please? I've been craving for Vita.
Hey, good news, Jay. You're on the board. Young
Why would
just
you say
homered.
something like that?
What, me?
Yeah, why would you say that?
I need some more Vita on X-Men.
Nobody needs Vita on X-Men.
It's Vita time.
What time is it?
It's Vita time.
It's morphin time.
Yeah.
Or Morbius.
Morbin.
Morbin.
You can't spell victory without Vita. That's today's logic at Marvel.
No, you can't. You can't with it either.
Because it's V-Day. Every day.
Yeah. Oh, wow! Back to back. Jonah Heim just homered.
Oh, nice.
Kind of getting into the cityless athletics.
Yeah, 2027 is when they're supposed to go over to Vegas.
Yeah, and I guess
it's just playing Sacramento.
I think they're playing in Sacramento, but I guess since they're moving to Vegas, it sort of reminds me of the Washington football team.
Because they played against the Brewers, and I think the Brewers on Easter just kicked their ass.
Well, yeah, because they didn't have a name, and they weren't allowed to say the old one. So I don't know why I don't just say, Sacramento, but
yeah, they're Oakland Athletics, right there. Yeah. And
before that they were
Oakland
the Kansas City
has
Athletics.
lost. So Oakland's become such a shithole. They lost both their football and their baseball.
And their Democrat from top to bottom leadership was proud of it.
Yeah.
I said it, but you know what?
But I mean,
except for the one that's facing decades in jail for whatever crime she committed, they'll all get reelected because it's California.
Yeah, but
whether they get the most votes or not, they'll get reelected.
So, looking at that stadium that the Athletics had before they tore it down, that was like one of the last, I guess, older stadiums, like county. Brewers had a county stadium. They got rid of that around 2000. But that Oakland Athletic Stadium has been around since the 60s, right?
Yeah, I think it's still there.
I thought they're tearing it down. That was the whole point.
I don't know. Why would you? It's in mint condition. No one ever used it. At least the stands were in mint condition.
Well, people were taking seats from the stands.
I saw many A's game when they were good. People forget because they've been so bad for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Over the last 8 or 9 years, they've got like the 5th or 6th best record in baseball, but nobody ever went to the games. I mean, they drew worse than Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
And Tampa Bay draws like Riley Rossmo.
My brother-in-law had seats from County Stadium. He bought.
I
was sad when they got rid of that stadium because they built like the new Miller Park Stadium, I always call it Miller Park. I'm not going to call it American Family, whatever it is. Hoover buys it now. It's Miller Park. And I remember like that first season, like that I was with my brother-in-law, we were watching games, and the roof just leaked. And then, and the making of, and do you, if you remember this, when they were building that the new Miller Park Stadium back in the 2000, dude fell from the what you would call it, the crane.
Hey Jay, you're winning. Tavares just hit a homer.
So,
Anyway, so I want to think about getting this meatball off the mound.
well, lump won't move.
I mean, Jesus, that's like back-to-back homers. So I think might have got. I don't know if it was. I don't know if there's anything in between it or not, but
Zach's just rocking for it. This is fine. This is fine. I have nothing to say about this. This
what's
is
that?
fine. No, I was watching Zach. He's just like, it's like you when we start talking about like anime and stuff. You're like,
Yeah, but sports are cool.
that's like Zach's like, this is fine. He's just
Anime
He's
has-
got that
He's when you're talking about wrestling too.
Anime hasn't been cool since I watched it.
Okay.
What was it, the 70s when Gundam came out?
No, that's
You think about
actually
it. we're looking, me and Trust were talking about voice actors, and there was a guy, Scott McNeil. He did the voice of Wolverine in the X-Men Evolution. He was doing voices for characters back in 1979 for the first Mobile Suit Gundam anime, the English dub. Yeah, I was just like, wow, yeah, that's how you know you're old if you've been in the business that long since 1979, and he's still doing stuff. But I asked for Texas Stadium seats for my birthday in 2010, but they tore it down, but I didn't get them.
a friend of mine who's got more money than God. His one of his hobbies is memorabilia, and he's got seats from stadiums that from like 100+ years ago.
Wow,
They just look like two beat to shit seats. But they're special because they came from whatever like Briggs Stadium from Detroit, which hasn't been around for 60-something years.
I was just saying these stadiums from did Wrigley, was that was the first, that's their first stadium in Illinois, right? That was their, or did they have one before that?
I imagine so. I mean that it's 115, 16 years old now.
Wow.
And because Wrigley and Fenway are left over from basically the early days. They're both over 100 years old, and as far as I know, neither one of them has sold the naming rights because it's one thing if Miller Park or Great American Ballpark has sells the rights because who cares? I mean, hell, Riverfront Stadium didn't have any cachet. Great American Ballpark certainly doesn't.
Yeah, Miller
but
Park,
Wrigley or Fenway, it just that just wouldn't be right.
Yeah, Miller Park is pretty become overrated so far. But when I first went there, like I said, like it's like when I see let's quickly clarify. Overrated, I mean, as far as when they first put the stadium, no one was watching the Brewers. No one cared about them. And then that first seasons, they went all the way to the playoffs. All of a sudden, everyone's like, the next season, like, oh my gosh, we got to be there. So then all the fat people come out and they have to take up 2 seats and got their nachos and their beer, they're drunk and stuff. Otherwise, my brother and I were like, it was like watching like the Indians, in Major League, the movie, Charlie Sheen. There's like no one there. You're the one guy in the stand. You could sit where you want to sit, and all of a sudden, everyone and anybody had to be there. And I was like, you're like this, like I can't move my arm.
It's natural to it's easy to call them fair weather fans, but it's not cheap to be an in-stadium fan. And if you're going to get behind, that's why most teams, when they go into new stadiums, they go in having used the extra money that they've fleeced out of the city or whatever to beef up the team. The Reds, on the other hand, had a fire sale going into their new stadium. So they were worse. It opened in 2003. They were noticeably worse than they were in 2002. That's why they sold out opening day and didn't even sell out the second game in a brand new stadium.
Yeah. But Miller Park, though, it's still, if you're like, I'm trying to think, if you're in left field on the upper stands, and it rains, the roof is closed, you have a puddle of water on you. And I remember watching. I was just like watching the water. It's like it's raining, and it wasn't like a rain because the roof's design, it collects, but it was just dropping down like a shower, like a pool of water. Just you open a dam up, and the water just sits straight down like a bucket. So, you didn't pull an E long enough. What? Who's pulling E and why?
Yeah, that sounds like no fun.
Yeah. No. Oh, Jay says nope. I just pulled a knee. Well, did you pay him for it?
He said you did it. He didn't say he did it. He said you did it.
Zach, I'm gonna annoy RDV here.
Okay.
Like, Cameron, did I ask you if you watched Ted Lasso?
Me?
Yeah.
You might have. I did. I'd been watching it recently.
He's Ted Lasso guy. Yeah.
I got up to season 3, and then I abandoned.
Later, Henry.
Did you abandon because of the change in the show, or
just a bunch of changes they did in the show? Like season 1 was like very positive and charming. Season 2 kind of was still like that, but they started to, I don't know, it felt like it started to go off into the weeds. And by the time you get into season 3, like some of the storytelling decisions that they did just didn't make sense. It was just like, it got very progressive in the messaging.
Oh, yeah, because Trusty warned me about that. So I was say, was it the mocking of Christianity, the mocking of conservatives? Was it waiting until the Here's why I'm like they waited until season 3 to introduce the gay player.
Yep.
It's like they did 2 years and made it and hooked everybody before they dropped that. If they'd had any balls, they would have introduced him in the first season. They would have outed him in the first season.
Yeah, and he was the guy that was in the first season and second season.
Yeah, and then
that was track 1.
And well, I was gonna say the mocking religion and politics. Yeah, the left leaning. When the little kid says. When the lady says, "Oh, you anxious to get home, Henry?" Oh, to my friends, yes. To the geopolitical situation our country is facing right now, not so much. It's like
that wasn't a huge deal breaker. The big deal breaker for me was like they do like this whole thing about like Britain. Apparently, at the time, Britain was looking at doing the same thing with immigration that we're doing in the States. And so they started to make that like a whole plot point. And I was like, okay, well, that's strike 2. And then strike 3 was, okay, in the first season, they had like the little socialite girl that was dating the dick player of the soccer team. Mm-hmm. And then they break up. Tart. And then, Jamie Tart. Dude, that's going to be in my head all night now. Thank you. Then you get to season 2, and she's dating Roy. He's here. He's there. He's every fucking where. Roy. That's also going to be stuck in my head now. And I was like, oh, okay, this is better. And then when it gets to season 3, they break them up for no apparent reason. The reason that they give is that they were both busy. But then like 3 episodes later, she starts dating another chick in her job.
Well, yeah, because it's like they want you to believe that any 2 women are just a bottle of booze away from scissoring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said that just no, come on.
Those 3 things happening in a row was like, okay, I'm out. Some stuff was okay, like
you remember the writer Trent?
Just wasn't enough. Oh yeah, Roy Trent was Roy Trent. Was it Roy Trent?
No, it's Trent.
Whatever. But he was gay. Yeah. But I mean,
no,
again,
I thought they handled that
out until the 3rd season.
Right, because like I said, I think they they didn't have the guts to do that early in the show.
Yeah.
And it's like they just dumped it all on season 3 when they figured they were bulletproof.
And they lost it just lost all the charm that made it so great in the first season. It's like you get to the 2nd season and you find out, okay, well, Ted Lasso's got some serious mental issues. Like he has panic attacks and he's got depression because he's divorced. And I'm like, okay, all that's fine. But as long as it still has like the positivity underneath, that's fine. But then when you get into season 3, it's like it's not even trying to be positive anymore.
I mean, there's still, I'm 6 episodes through, and it's still very good.
Wait, are you in season 1 or season 3?
Season 3.
Oh, you're in season 3.
Oh.
I think, what was the last one I watched in 3? It might have been the Amsterdam trip. Might have been the last.
That's where I am right now.
Yeah.
That was
Okay. And the Amsterdam, there was some fun stuff in the Amsterdam episode, but overall, I don't know, it just kind of killed the mood for me.
because now I'm kind of concerned because the first 2 seasons of Shrinking, same people,
Yeah. Oh, really?
have been 2 of the best seasons of anything I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Just like I would say about Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
But seeing where Ted Lasso went in season 3, I'm kind of now worried about Shrinking.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I do want to give Shrinking a try. Apple TV is actually getting a lot of stuff that I want to see.
Well, if you like the first 2 seasons of Ted Lasso, you will really like Shrinking. I mean,
Okay,
it's got.
I'm going to give Shrinking a go.
It's got the same kind of feel.
I don't know. Some stuff of it I like still, but overall, like it just I don't know. And it's like, dude, what was the bit? There was something else that was just I don't know. It was just weird. I can't remember it. I don't know.
But the Amsterdam was the scene with
Beard was great. I love Beard, but then Beard even they took and got him like kind of serious in some spots. I was like, okay.
Jamie teaching Roy how to ride a bike.
That was funny.
That was great. Because I said it's still
Jamie actually. So point to Ted Lasso. Jamie Tart has some of the best character development I think I've seen in recent media.
Yeah,
he's got a really good character. Roy does too. Roy Kent does too. I think.
When they're riding, he goes, I think Keely has a girlfriend now.
Yeah,
and and I look on Jamie's face like he wasn't at all surprised.
Yeah,
but again, I said I don't. Well,
you have to let me know how it ends. I didn't even look up the ending for myself. I just kind of got to a point where I just kind of stalled out on it. So I got into anime again.
You guys ever hear of Lar Park Lincoln? She was in the Friday the 13th.
No.
Never saw Friday the 13th.
Part 6 or 7. The New Blood just died. 63 years old.
Mm. Hey, did you hear the Pope died Monday? Like
yeah. I heard that they already got 2 DEI hires. I got an Asian guy and then a black guy lined up to be the next Pope.
The black guy is actually very conservative, so I don't think he'll get it.
I don't know.
It depends. Don't let our media fool you. I think there's a lot of the world is going back to conservatism.
I think so too.
Because the other way ain't working.
You know what I saw today? Actually, Mark Millar tweeted this out earlier today. He said like it wasn't too many years ago he was maybe getting like 1 book a week or something, and today it was just like a ton of books that he had. Talking about like how he thinks the comic industry is turning around.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
My younger brother is a priest.
Oh.
And he says we are getting more and more vocations lately. More and more people are coming into the church. They are more on our end of the spectrum than the other. It is starting to swing the correct way.
I have heard that churches are getting more attendance. I heard that that they're actually selling more Bibles now than they have in the past. So
he says there's, judging from his experience with the people he's been, bringing into the church, there's been a lot of more conservative side, more old school type people coming in, and we're getting more vocations and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Well, but from a comic standpoint, you're absolutely right. I mean, the problem is it's not really helping the industry because as goes Marvel, goes the comic industry, and Marvel is just getting worse.
Yeah.
Because like I said, for every Ultimate Spider-Man or Predator versus Spider-Man, there's just 10 books that are absolutely useless.
And yet there are people online that are actually convinced, or they're trying to convince others that Amazing Spider-Man is better than Ultimate Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man, I was at the comic store. I said, I'll just look through it, and the art is horrendous.
The art doesn't drive me crazy, but here is the funny thing. When Ultimate Spider-Man #1 came out, all the issues, variants, cover A's, everything was sold out like by the middle of the day. Amazing Spider-Man, they've still got issue number ones. They have issue number ones to spare.
And it's not, and it's Pepe Larraz that's doing the art, but the way he draws his faces, why does Peter look like he's a cokehead? The orange nose, I don't like that style, and they draw him looking like a dope. He's not a dope. He's not a dork. Like I hate the fact that they still treat him that way. And I think it's cute to do this. When you look at the art they put on Ultimate Spider-Man with Marco Cicchetto, the way he draws Peter Parker looking like a much more serious, respected, guy, he still has his moments, Pepe Larraz is not a good artist for Spider-Man. Spider-Man should have top near-notch artists on there if you're going to draw them.
Well, here's probably Marvel.
They don't want to pay people, though. That's a problem, too.
Good news, folks. Jay's going commie.
Oh, we already know. That's why Jay doesn't want the panel anymore. He'd rather just be in the chat and just circulate us, just not like us. Just be like, yeah, whatever.
Jay, in the interest of your new communism beliefs and that none of us own anything and we all should share everything, I will share with you the really bad comics that I bought that are taking up space in my closet. I will share them with you. So
I will share you, brother, the good news that Rosie O'Donnell is now going to be moving in with you.
Oh.
Not you, Jay.
Oh.
Wow, I was gonna gift Jay with my middle finger, but after what Vegman just said, I think I'm going to stick it down my throat and throw up.
Yeah, you heard that Rosie O'Donnell said, "Oh, life on I think she's in Ireland."
Yeah,
I think she's.
It's too tough there. Yeah, because they don't give a shit about you're a celebrity. You're not a celebrity there.
She's not a celebrity here either.
Exactly.
Yeah, she really isn't.
But yeah, your wealth doesn't go that far over in Ireland.
Someone played that clip again from Megyn Kelly at the debates in 2016.
No, just Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah, just Rosie O'Donnell. That's
yeah.
God. You have to think that man has been president twice. Gotta love it.
and Megyn Kelly is actually one of his biggest fans.
Oh
now.
God, yes.
That's kind of why I like Landman. He's Bob Thornton's kind of the same way, kind of crass. I love that when you can actually have a hero who's not really. I mean, in a sense, he's not a good guy, but he'll tell you how it is, and he's just sick of other people's bullshit. Man, that's why I like having Trump as president. He's just sick of the bullshit, and he's gonna speak his mind, whether you like it or not.
I'm gonna miss Billy Bob Thornton in a couple of years because he's getting like. You know Gerald McCraney is, don't you?
No. Was he on Simon and Simon?
Yes, he was the older Simon.
Yes.
But he was, but he's been in a bunch of things that you'd see. Oh yeah, okay, I know who that is. Oh, she shows up on all kinds of cool shows, but he's well into his 70s now. He's in that Paradise show, but he's playing the president's senile father. And because he's going to be playing old man roles now because he's an old man.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Bob just hit 70, so there's only a couple more years for him to play people like.
That's kind of my thing with Sam Elliott.
Yeah,
he's another person I like watching on. A lot of these guys, a lot of the good actors are aging out. Stallone.
God, but Stallone's a freak. I mean, he's the youngest. He's most youthful. I think he's like 78 now, I think.
Yeah.
And Stallone's never been a good actor.
What are you freaking talking about, bro?
Well,
he's done good movies, but I mean, come on, he's not a good actor.
That's it. He's done good movies. He's not a great actor.
He's never been asked to be, but
that's true.
All the big
King, dude.
That's not a good representation. But what is?
He's great in that.
He is, but he's playing Stallone.
Exactly.
That's not what you are an actor to do. You're not there to be yourself. By that measure, Dwayne Johnson
Well,
is
Sean Connery was Sean Connery in
No,
every movie he played.
No, he
Pierce
wasn't.
Brosnan- Yes, he was.
Copland. All the hoity-toity actors like De Niro and everybody was in it said we were amazed at how good Stallone is in this movie.
De Niro plays De Niro in every movie. That's all I see is De Niro.
Mute yourself.
You know, I won't because I'm sorry, I will not conform to your beliefs.
They're not his beliefs. These are objective facts.
These are what you guys have been simulated to believe as facts.
No, I said, Stallone, like I said, roles are made with Stallone in mind. He went after Copland because he wanted to show people that he could act. Hell, if you want to see that he could act, first Rocky. That was great acting.
Oh, yeah. Look whose side is figured out. He can join us. What's up, bro?
I'm on my phone tonight, so I don't know how good this sounds. If I'm too loud, I don't know.
Well, we can hear you. That's bad enough.
Their phones but me.
Well, we can hear you without the phone.
You can hear me without the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine.
And anyway, Stallone is a dick. He tried to get me fired, so I don't like him.
Well,
he probably had good reasons.
Yeah, I'm sure he had a
good reason.
No, he asked me a question, I answered it, and then he came back in the next day saying that I was being a smartass.
Well, Jeff, what was the question, and how did you respond?
He said, why are the we had some like igloo-shaped dog houses outside the store. We were just up from the Pacific, and he said, how come these things are dirty? I said, sorry, they're out in front. It gets kind of dusty. If you'd like a clean one, I can either wipe it off for you or get you a new one. Right? Easy enough. Guy comes in the next day and says I was being a smartass trying to get me fired. And I told my manager knew that I wasn't being a smartass because he knows me being a smartass. And I said, if you want, next time he comes in, call me. I'll come and be a fucking smartass for him. And he says, no, because that way you actually will get fired.
Well, him being a dick to you does not affect the way he acts. And
but
stuff.
What I was saying, because for Copland, he put on like 40 pounds of belly, and he just walked around like a paunch, and just and it said it says the one time he's actually gotten to be an actor, he was very good at it. Mm. So Stallone is a very good actor, but like I said, people don't want to come out and see him play a fat sheriff that everybody picks on. They want to see Sylvester Stallone, and he knows it. Everybody knows that. So this was sort of like, like Elvis Presley begged to do real movies, but Colonel Parker,
didn't he
whether he's right or not,
didn't he try to go out for that?
Well, for what?
A Star Is Born?
Yes, he did. But Colonel Parker knew what his fans wanted.
See, the thing with Stallone, I mean, you might be right about you're right about that at Copland, because I remember everyone talking about how great he was. The guy is, no matter what I think of him, he knows how to write a movie, and he can do some incredible, fun and exciting movies. Those, I don't think he's done a really bad movie, when he's written it.
But listen, I love Dwight Manfredi, that character. I forgot the character Billy Bob Thornton plays on Landman, but as far as like who, what character is better acted, it's Billy Bob Thornton all day long. Yeah, that man is a, I don't know if he's ever won an Oscar, but if those still mattered, he probably should have by now.
I love it because he takes on some of the same roles. Billy Bob Thornton, and so I always liked his acting.
They're definitely
he deserves an Emmy.
But
Bad Santa is one of the best movies I've watched by him. I love it.
But I said I've
really
seen.
Is, but real quick, that's not real quick. Let me just say this real quick. I'm not interrupting you. I'm just telling Jeff real quick. Don't forget, Jeff. Stallone wrote "Staying Alive," so not all of them were bangers. Anyway,
I did not see it, so I couldn't speak on that one.
"Staying Alive," the sequel to
Saturday Night Fever. Yes, I'm aware of it.
Saturday Night Fever, yeah. But I didn't. I just found out recently Stallone wrote that. I didn't know he wrote it.
Do you know that?
Sorry, Eric.
They wanted him for.
Sorry, Brian. I'm sorry.
They wanted him for Beverly Hills Cop. He tried to rewrite the script, and they said no.
Oh, I know.
And that's what that what was that movie that he did with where he's in the car and all the bad guy, the killer cult?
Cobra?
Yeah, that was his version of what he wanted to turn Beverly Hills Cop into.
Yeah, and it's a good movie. If you tell me you hate Cobra, I'm kicking you right now.
No, I didn't say I hated it. I just said that's what he was. That's what he tried
Yes,
to write.
Mr. Bigglesworth. It's high.
I've still never seen it. I've still never seen it.
It's the Coco Report.
Sorry, Brent. I'm muting myself, though.
She loves to scratch, like the sides of comic bags.
She's censored by your name. Hold on a second. Yeah. Take away our credits. There we go. It's the Coco Report.
Everybody's watching you.
She's gonna jump down. I don't want to be on the team.
Oh yeah, she was. It was weird though. She kept. I mean, she doesn't do this very often.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, she was still spooked from last night, so she was basically hanging out. She was falling asleep here, which she never does because she's got the whole sofa and the recliner.
Yep.
But
is that your cat, or are you just cat sitting?
No, it's mine.
Oh, really?
It's mine, but
wow.
I don't have. But you know, my friend, his aunt was unfortunately had to be put in the home, and so she had several cats, and they couldn't. This one is antisocial. It gets scared by other animals, so they couldn't take her, and basically it came down to me or the pound.
So they gave it to the antisocial guy.
Well, but since his aunt has money and doesn't know who she is anymore, they are paying for it because I couldn't afford a cat. So they're paying for the food and everything, and it's messed up my breathing. So they brought over a brand new air purifier.
Oh wow!
And a deluxe vacuum cleaner with every attachment known to man, which mine's sold. I don't even know if it's
one for the cat.
Yeah, but so I mean they've put a lot of money into this, and I said I wasn't sure about this, but yeah, she's such a sweetheart.
Good for the wires.
Get out of the wires, you dummy. Yeah, she's not chewing on them. She's just scratching her head on them. Yeah, I guess she's just marking everything as hers.
Yes. It's just like the way they feel it. Like, do you pet her? Like, because she might be a cat that likes to be pet nonstop. Maybe that's why she's rubbing her head against stuff.
No, so I pet her when she deigns to pay attention, but yeah, she just walked away again. Good. See if she makes out her and lazy as hell.
She's a diva. She comes up to you, she's like, "Pet me," and then she's like, "I don't want to be pet anymore." Walks away.
Well, you just described every cat ever.
Dude, my cats would always come up to me all the time. They always want attention, and I give them attention, and they just never wanted to leave. That was my cats.
But this one, she is not anywhere near as aloof as other cats. But it's I'm her everything. So when she went up to my friend yesterday because she recognized him, but then she hid and didn't come out, didn't go to sleep. Just sat there like a statue for like 3 hours. And then he left, and she's coming out before I even get back in the room.
Oh my! Yeah, they'll stay hidden forever if they don't like you.
Oh, well, it's not like it's she's terrified of anything that's not me because she's gotten used to me, which that's but she was like last night she came upstairs and slept on the bed, which she doesn't do very often anymore. But she was, she wanted to be around her, her human. So
she's training you.
I said, they're fascinating little buggers. I mean, what? Yeah, what?
It's like having a kid that doesn't grow up or doesn't talk.
Or like a dog that doesn't bark, which I'll take. But
Right?
it's.
Oh my gosh! If that was a dog, all you hear is arf, 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 arf. Just the little dogs. They nonstop bark, and then if they see anybody, they bark.
Yeah, that's interesting. I could tell. Yeah, it's in my friend's son cut my grass today.
Yeah.
And she could tell something was up because she heard the noise closer, and she's acting a tiny bit skittish. But or hell, it might have even been in my imagination. But
you guys are cutting the grass. You're making me depressed. I got to do that next week.
Well, I had some the neighborhood drunk cut my grass last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he croaked off.
Must have.
Because he didn't show up and his number's been disconnected. Because he's usually, he would badger me to the point to where I would, just, I'd have to like yell at him. And he would come up and like try to borrow $1. He'd knock on the door in between times. Can I borrow $1? Can I borrow $3?
Because he wanted to buy alcohol.
Of course. Yeah. He ran through the litany of excuses. I wanted to say, dude, I used to drink so much I don't remember 2 years of my life. You're not fooling me. But anyway, so unfortunately, my brother-in-law's son has gone from like a kid to a man in about 4 months. But
he's all muscular now. I'm just pushing.
But in my lawnmower I haven't used in 2 years. But he took it, fixed it, and brought it over and had him cut it. $20. Hell, I'll do it because I said, great kid, absolutely consumed with baseball cards. Just like insanely into that hobby.
All right.
And to get to talk baseball.
I knew it. Geekeasy got to leave.
Yeah, my knee is starting to bark.
Finally, the knee has started to hurt.
Finally,
the knee has come back to being a pain. So I will see you guys next week, and I will have some convention stuff to show you.
All right, cool beans.
Cool.
Right on.
Have fun.
Yep.
Right, and have a good night.
All right.
Yep.
Later. You too, man.
What's that?
Brina, how are baseball cards doing? How are baseball cards doing? I thought a few years ago they almost went under completely.
They seem to have made a hell of a comeback.
Awesome. That's good to hear. That is good to hear.
Problem is, and I noticed this last year. There's I love Jersey Mike's, and there's a Jersey Mike's, more close where I live. But there's also a card shop. I walked in there. There wasn't an old card anywhere. There weren't even any loose cards. It was all just boxes and whatnot. And I said, well, I'm not gonna I'm gonna pick up something while I'm here. So I bought 2 packs. It was $11. Packs of cards that were 10 cents when I was a kid. Well, 5 cents first year I bought them, 5 for 5 cents. Are now like 10 cards for $5.50. I'm sorry, kids. When you're competing with, tablets and video games, hell, 10 packs of cards, you damn near buy a video game.
Speaking of cards, my shop now has a bunch of Magic cards out now.
Oh, mine's been doing that. That's like
I don't know if there's normally they have more Pokemon, but also they had a huge display of Magic cards. Is there must have been a new release or something like that?
Magic. I mean, from what I know, Magic's been doing a lot of new stuff recently. My shop has always done sports cards, Pokemon cards, and Magic cards.
No sports cards.
There are
comics.
There are a shitload of card channels on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched a couple, and now they pop up like weeds, and I want to watch them all because I said if you've never been in the hobby, it's hard to explain why pictures of dudes in uniforms on pieces of cardboard are so fascinating.
Right.
But they are. I mean, I started on cards when I was 1969, and I said I can. To this day, if you hid the names and showed me the cards, I bet I'd get 90% of them right. Tell you who they were. It's just,
I watched a while back. Oh, we lost Jay. Oh no. Anyway, we I've been watching some of the YouTube channels with guys that could do like the card hunting. They go to flea markets looking for cards, and it's just kind of crazy because like there's this one guy says like, oh, I always like watch this one little lady here. She's gonna like try and lowball me, trying to like she wants to know see what cards I'm looking at, try to grab my cards, buy them all for other people. It's like there's always, and I laugh because I've seen that firsthand before with people, not just with cards. Because if you're in a flea market and somebody like, oh, this looks cool, I might get this, and then also the other person like, oh, that might be worth value, so they're gonna try and take your stuff.
I'd be willing to bet that there fines at flea markets are probably few and far between at this point. But I'll bet you there is still the occasional yard sale score.
Yep.
Well, somebody found a Detective 27 in a garage sale.
Well, I remember people were finding actually comics within the walls when they were tearing on stuff. People used to use online comic books.
Yeah, that's
in the walls. That's crazy.
Zach, did you ever dabble in baseball cards when you were a kid, or?
No, I didn't really get into any kind. I mean, knowing me, it's probably good that I didn't, because I would have stacks of cards.
Dude, that's my older brother. My older brother.
I never got into it though. I had a few friends back then who were into Pokemon cards, but any kind of trading card, I just would.
My brother, who's 6 years older than I am, was always the sports guy. He had all the sports card stuff. What cards I had? Sports Illustrated.
Well, I think that, and honestly, growing up in the 90s, as you guys did,
yeah,
I think that the industry was starting to, hit the skids, because cards hit the skids about the same time comics did.
Yeah,
because there was the glut period where all those companies popped out of the woodwork and they were doing the, die cut chromium refractor, this and that, and I said cards had all the same gimmicks that comics
foil
did.
Cards.
And it just all blew up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not surprised. But if you were of a certain age, like I said, if you're my age, you had baseball cards when you were a kid. That was just, that was a given.
Well, I get cards from like the police officers at the 4th of July. They hand out like their baseball card stuff too. That was kind of weird. But my brother had some rookie cards. I don't remember the names, but I remember he was showing me some. He had some really, not famous, but like newer famous, I guess, athletes. So I don't know if I don't think he still collects cards anymore. I mean, cards he has are like they weren't. It's the way to explain it, I guess, for if you're not on a card person, or just sports person. My brother has tons of cards. Few and far between are maybe worth a lot of money, but he liked every single card he had. It's just the way he was.
Well, there's, there to me, there's no.
It was all baseball cards.
I'm no more excited about having a Jackie Robinson than I am having a Gus Triandos. I mean, they're just because I studied them all when I was a kid, and I had cards that I had the stack of cards apparently that I took with me everywhere to like church and just whatever. And I still remember a handful of them.
Wow. And
those still mean something to me 50, 60 years, 55 years later, however long it was. But that's it. Jay, there's a ton of videos on football cards. I mean, like guys showing old Bowman sets and because Topps, I guess got into it about either 55 or 56, but before that was Bowman. I have a Tom Landry card when he was a player.
Do you have any sealed packs at all?
No, I got it. Okay, here's a little perspective for how, if only we'd had a crystal ball. I paid $50 for an empty box of 1969. The boxes that would come in and sit on the counter.
Yes.
$50 for just the box.
Yes.
And that same box
packages
would probably be $100 now.
There's a lot of ISOC sealed packs of cards that are worth more, but once you open it up, because here's the you may have a good card in there, you may not. Mysteries. That's why they're worth more. And
yeah, if you had a 52 top set,
yeah,
would you dare open it on the off chance that there's a Mickey Mantle in there?
Yeah.
Because if it isn't,
yeah,
I don't care what else is.
Yeah.
Unless you know for sure that it was a 4th series. Because for anybody that doesn't know that, when the 4th series came along, the kids were going back to school and they didn't think they could sell them. So they put the vast majority of them on a cargo plane, headed out to the Pacific and dumped them. And when you couple that with every major league player got a complimentary set, and 80% of those went right into the nearest garbage can. And everybody that did that set is worth more than they made in their careers. Unless you were a superstar. And that's incredible to think about. But who knew that in 1952?
No, like I said, this is a chance. Like, that's the same with Pokemon cards. The off chance that you get the really rare, really expensive card, anytime you open up anything like that, any cards that I don't care what it is, Pokemon, Magic, whatever, there's a chance that there actually might be a rare card in there. As soon as you open up and that card's not in there, you just went down for what probably was a $50 pack for an unsealed, card pack to like zero. Because people paid for the chance, to open up the pack and maybe there might be a card they're looking for in there, versus where they open up it's an open pack and they don't need any of the cards because they can see the cards. That's how they get you. That's crazy.
Even though I'm a hobbyist, I've never the Magic cards, the Pokemon cards. I mean, I get it, but at least with sports cards, they're real people that you're collecting, and it's because I said I've had enough hobbies to know that I'm not gonna make fun of anybody else's hobby.
Pokemon, I always thought was weird because before the speculators came in there, it was just a game kids played.
Yeah.
And then they realized, I can make money on this because there's rare cards in there. And that ruined the hobby for the kids who just wanted to get a pack of cards and just play. Because now people are just buying cards to flip them.
Well, that's scalpers. I mean, that's
and you see this stuff. Brand new set of Pokemon. You see 6 or 7 guys running in the Walmart or whatever. They get the stand right over there and grab all the cards and leave. And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, those are. I mean, that's not just. They don't just do it with Pokemon cards. I mean, they did that today, even with the pre-orders for the new Nintendo Switch went live. People were pre-ordering them. I stood in line for 4 hours this morning to pre-order one.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah, I did actually. But no, people stood in line to pre-order 3, 4, 5 of them. And then they turn around and put the pre-orders up on eBay for like $800, like twice what they're worth.
Yeah.
So I mean, people will scalp anything if they feel like they can turn it and make a.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. What they've done to it, they've sucked the fun out. They've sucked the fun out of hobbies in general.
Yeah.
It's like it's heartbreaking. Like I said, the players that won't sign anymore. Because even that sweet little kid you think you're signing it to might be getting paid $10 an hour from a professional scalper to take the autograph right back to him, so he can sell it for big bucks.
Yeah,
and that's I said that's. Although I gotta admit, I Jeff said there were autographs he was looking for this weekend. I have never understood that. I think I got my last autograph when I was 7 or 8 years old at a Reds game. I know it's 1970. I just don't know if I'd turned 8 yet. And Don Sutton, I'll never forget, signed my brother's program and not mine, because he Phil's was the last one. So maybe it's anger and bitterness. But no, I've never asked for a pro's autograph. I've never gotten a comic signed. My friend Jerry, he's probably spent well into 5 figures on autographs and photos. To me, I'd rather buy comics with that money.
I hear you. Looking at Cheeseburger comics today, most kids I knew collected baseball cards. And he's like, "No, I got comics."
Well, yeah, I said, Dr. Silver Age.
Yeah.
He never messed with cards. He was buying comics at age 5. I wish I had. God, I could imagine buying 12-cent Marvels new.
Yep.
That'd have been cool.
Celeste is right now. I've been talking. I'm like, say hi to Zach, and she does it. She's just like, hi, Zach.
Okay.
That's what's going on Twitch. So you're like, what the heck's going on?
I opened a tab a while ago just to give her the view time.
Yeah. So for those who can't see, the StreamYard, because we're streaming the Twitch. So I went because Celeste is streaming with us. I was like, I see you, and she's like, I see you too. It's like, it's so stupid. So then I was like, I wonder because only her shows up, her comments show up on here. So I was like, say hi, Zach, and all that. And she's like, hi, Zach. So it looks like she says, I see you, and she says, hi, Zach. So it looks kind of funny.
Is this what y'all do when I'm not here? You just like laugh and do these little like chat tags?
Don't you dare judge me out loud, sir.
Okay, I'll judge you as loud as I can.
That's right, Zach. We're nothing without you.
That's
no.
We're all out of love. We're so lost without you.
She always streams when we're streaming. So and she's like, oh my gosh, Zach's such good, because he never gets a chance to talk to Zach anymore, because for a while Zach wasn't showing up on the channel and stuff. So she's like, oh my gosh, Zach's there. She's like, oh, I see Zach. I'm like, yeah. So now whenever we're on and I see that she's on there, I always tell her, it's like, hey, look, your favorite YouTuber's on there. It's Zach.
Hey, I just noticed that Jacob deGrom's pitching. He's still in the game.
Good for him.
I remember when he was the best in the game.
So you spent $800 or $400 on the Switch?
Gosh, no. Oh my gosh. Do I look like I'm that rich? No, I put the minimum down payment down.
Zach, there's literally hardly anything behind you. You could be rich.
No, I'm not rich. I'm about to help my girlfriend pay.
Richmond, yeah. Zach Richmond.
Yeah, sure. That's a fake name.
That's
I'm convinced that it was the poorest guy that came over the boat from Ireland or Norway, wherever my ancestor came from.
From Europe.
Somewhere in Europe. There are several European countries. I put the minimum down payment down, and then I'm actually going to go trade in my original Switch system probably by next week. And that'll get me about $150 or so credit.
I would have just waited till everybody else is a beta test and sees how well it does before I spend money on it. I did that with the PS5. I did that, and I was just like, yeah, I just think you're...
Well, PS5, I actually did not go shopping for anything. PS5, actually, my ex got that for me for our last wedding anniversary. That is the one thing of hers that I have not thrown out.
I am so glad that I never started playing video games.
You've never played...
It is an expensive hobby now.
Well, it's also...
No, did you ever play Pong? That was a video game system.
Resort?
I think I might have played Pong.
Or Frogger.
No, none of those, but
really,
because I know how when I take to something,
yeah,
and I didn't need another complete time consume. What the hell? Where'd that go?
I don't know. I don't know. It's like Jay. He had a button and he's gone.
It's like that 10 Little Indians movie, one by one.
The Bugs Bunny. 1 little, 2 little, 3. Oh, 10 Little Indians. There he is.
Did you guys see that? He kicked me when I said I wasn't rich. Did y'all see that?
No, you kick it all. I was like,
me.
you pulled the J thing. I was awesome. Like he's talking.
Also, in my defense, I spent the formative years of video games with a beer in one hand and a smoky treat in the other. There were no hands left to play the video games with or drive, which made that an adventure sometimes, but
Yeah,
I digress.
That would be wild.
Yeah, well, no, not role playing. I say that it not trying to be glib or anything, but we think about it, I've never seen a second of Lord of the Rings related anything. I've never seen a second of Harry Potter. I mean, anything that would be associated with role playing games, I have zero interest in, and never at no point did I ever. So that one, but video games, when I see some of those things, I go, yeah, I think if I had started at a young enough age, I probably would have stuck around with those for a while, and it's just as well that I didn't. Because also I like sports, and that takes up a lot of video game.
Yeah, got a lot of video games.
There's a lot of sports video games. There's a lot of baseball games.
Yeah, but I'd rather, like, Aaron would rather play the video games and watch the actual games. I'm obviously the reverse.
Yeah, he still wants his $80 back.
Other Aaron. That came up. He had 20. I know this because I noted the time. He said something snarky 24 minutes in, and I just said, "Shut up." And I said, "If you had Aaron would annoy me by 24 minutes, you won."
You won.
But that was a fun stream. It's too bad WWE yeeted it.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, for showing clips. I mean, they were like they didn't demonetize it. They blocked it worldwide.
Jeez.
And sent Josh a note telling him what they'd done.
Wow.
Was it
well, we showed like minute clips of all the matches.
The WrestleMania?
Yeah, and Stand and Deliver.
That's why. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we know why, but it's like if you're WWE, why do you care? It's free advertising.
Because they're not making them. What they should have done is just say that you cannot make money on this, and let the clips go up.
Right, exactly. Is it demonetized? And if you look at, Josh has 500 subs. You don't care. I mean, he's never going to be monetized.
Well, I remember I was on a stream with Christina. You remember her?
Yeah,
Christine. Yeah, Christy. Yeah. And then you had Kayla's on there too, and they were like she was streaming, and then we were watching like Weird Al videos, and all of a sudden like the stream went black for a minute, and then like you couldn't see it on YouTube. We were watching the phone, and then it went back up.
The algorithms are freaking crazy what they can catch.
Yeah,
because you trust me, the number of people that watched us the other night, I said Josh wishes he had your numbers. So
Josh is only at 500.
Oh yeah, and there weren't.
I thought he was more.
No, I don't know if there were 10 people watching us at any point that night. But we didn't care because we were having a blast.
Well, honestly, that's here. I mean, the most I had people watching, I had 10, and then it went down to 7, and it goes 8.
But we've had days where we've gotten close to 20.
Yeah,
like when Zach shows a little shoulder like flash dance. Yeah,
Zach's like a little bit of skin, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we went up in views." It's just crazy.
Please, the last time I was here, I wore a V-neck, and RDV was like, "Why are you wearing a V-neck?"
Well, he was seething with jealousy.
I was all that. I was more concerned you were in a V-neck and you had no chest hair. I was just concerned.
That's because he'd taken them all off and glued them to his beard.
I actually don't have very many. I don't have a whole lot of chest hair going on.
Yeah,
You're not a Sean Connery? You don't have the manly.
No, I'm not a Sean Connery. No.
Where it looks like a carpet.
Gosh.
Well, that was all.
Imagine all the shampoo I'd have to go through if that was all.
That was all Tom's. Remember Tom Selleck making me PI? He always purposely wear the. It
was like a Wookiee.
Shirt. A Wookiee.
Golly, dude.
It wasn't that long. It wasn't like he was just combing and braiding it.
I don't know, man. I feel like it could have been.
Tom Selleck was in some obscure horror movies in the 70s.
Tom Selleck?
I believe it.
Interesting.
Oh wow, you're creeping up on 1,000 subs, dude. I literally thought that Josh had about 2000 already.
Yeah.
It was 3000.
No, it's that anti-gay bias.
I don't know. I mean,
Somebody kept putting in the comments, "Hey Josh, what do you think about Sonny Kiss?" Yeah. Hey Josh, bet you like Pat Patterson the best. But that's the difference between a gay guy that thinks like us versus the others. He didn't bother him one iota.
Honestly, this thing with Joe, if you would not told me, I would have known.
Yeah,
Joe does not come off like, Joe Corallo is a really cool guy. He does not come off like, he doesn't advertise it. Like, he doesn't need to.
Yeah,
like
the paint and nails would be a clue if you.
Well, I mean, if you look at the nails, yeah, sure. But back there's guys in high school that the emo kids would paint their nails. I didn't ask them like, "Hey, are you going down on the other guy over there?" I didn't care.
And that might, the fact that Joe acts the way he is may have hurt his career at the big two. Because I said when DC was collecting LGBTQ plus creators like Pokemon cards, he barely got any work, and that's. I promise you, he's better than any of them.
Well, yeah, he just got that one story in the last Pride
and
book,
they know it.
Yeah.
What? Okay, Joe gets a story in a Pride book. Fuck that.
I know.
Give him a title.
I know. I'm just saying that at least you got in the door that way, but being they don't care.
No, it's just like the characters in the Pride book. You go back on the shelf for a year. I mean, I'm exaggerating. And part of it is, like I said, it annoys me because I consider Joe a good friend.
Dolly in the Dark was a good book.
Yeah. I liked Beckstar. I really, really liked Dolly in the Dark because it was more kind of in my wheelhouse than Beckstar was. But yeah, I said I would love for him to have a monthly.
But I'm just curious, if Joe was working in DC and Marvel, where would you think you'd want to see him writing?
I've heard some of Joe's ideas. I'm not allowed to say what they are.
Oh, sure.
But he has one idea in particular that if they did it, it would be fucking awesome. And it will never happen, but it would, and some of his other, I mean, honestly, it wouldn't matter because I think whatever he would show to have a passion for, I know he's got a passion for the Legion.
You know what I do?
He's pretty much
for Joe. Historian. I would take any book that Steve Orlando is currently trashing and put Joe on it, make it better.
That's a particular sore spot because I know that straight Steve Orlando doesn't have a credit to his name, but gay Steve Orlando gets all the work he can handle and then some.
Yes,
I mean, it's and so when I think of some of the other clowns that have gotten so much work for any other reason other than talent.
Dan Abnett should be on. Why is it Dan Abnett on Guardians of the Galaxy?
Hickman's about to start doing some stuff, Marvel Cosmic stuff, including the Guardians. He's got a whole Cosmic thing coming up.
In Ultimate Universe? Or
no, the main one. Guardians, the Skrulls, the what are they? The Landra and the Shi'ar.
I wish him well.
Yeah.
But personally, I think Dan Abnett's a better writer than Jonathan Hickman, period. And when it comes to Cosmic, at this point, with the possible exception of Jim Starlin, he has no peers. Now, he's already been there and done that. So at least Hickman will give it a fresh approach.
Yeah.
But he'd also be crazy not to bring him in, if for nothing else, to consult, because nobody has a better feel for Cosmic Comics than Dan Abnett.
Dan Abnett, perfect example. The little 4-issue I Am Groot miniseries. We not only get to see Groot before he joins the Guardian stuff, but we also get to see Marvel before he becomes Captain Marvel. And it's like a really good little 4-issue miniseries by Dan Abnett. And it was just made me wish that Lansing and Kelly weren't doing a freaking Guardians of the Galaxy book. I wish they would have put Dan Abnett on it instead.
Who was it?
Lansing and Kelly got a Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, that's
that was like their Western look.
all you need to know.
And it wasn't that great. It was
Marvel doesn't care if they sell, because if they did,
of course,
Lansing and Kelly would be
anything they touch to destroy.
I wouldn't trust them to write an IOU.
Wes is true. I didn't think about this, but Wes is right. Anything they touch and destroy. They destroyed Winter Soldier. They made him whatever he is in their book.
Remember they tried to revive Planetary?
Yep. Yeah. No one wanted it.
You don't. LK and Doc could fight to the death, and the winner hates that more because, God, I mean, I've heard rants from both of them, and it's just, they said they are frighteningly untalented, but they'll work for scale, and they don't make waves.
I was reading the Lansing and Kelly because I wanted to. They were doing a Batman Beyond story. It was about a year or two back, and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And then I was like, "What is this Catboy bullshit garbage?" And John Constantine not having any powers because before he died, whatever, gave his powers to this Catboy. I was just like, "What the fuck is this?" You know,
I don't get it. There's nothing you can point to. Like I said, prior and now, from what I understand, his X book is really good too. But prior, I mean, Lansing and Kelly don't have a space ghost on their resume, or a guy that might have been a middling writer up to that point suddenly, plays like an all-star.
You know what they remind me of? They're like the Paul Logan of comic books.
I disagree. Logan Paul, like him or not, a lot of people really do like him, and he is better than he has a right to be. I just don't like him. I mean, I don't dislike Logan Paul. The
Carrying Cross is right. He cut the line.
And that's a great plot for the WWE if they run with it.
But that's how I feel about Lansing and Kelly. They jump the line. A lot of these guys jump the line to get the right spots.
Now, for one thing, the best and brightest aren't participating in the business anymore because they can make more money, writing menus for a restaurant chain.
Artist Alley.
Sure.
That's where they go. They make all their money at the Comic Cons. They make way more money selling their prints than they do anything a year.
Artists can do that. Yeah. You know what you don't see at a comic show?
Writers.
Yeah, right. Let me know when you find Writers Alley.
Jeremy Adams goes to a good amount of cons.
Yeah,
but he's not in the alley. He's a name now.
Yeah, right.
Now you go there if you've got an entire book to sell. Yeah, the writer might be there, to pimp the book. But as far as no one's going to commission you to write a page of dialogue. That's the advantage artists have over writers. So a good writer that can't get work is just fucked. If that's what they want. Yeah, it's quite accurate there, less evil ginger cat. Well, unless they go in there asking for directions to a real company.
Yeah. We should start an I Love Comics Con. We could tour all our cities. No. You don't see writers at Marvel either.
That's fine.
What's going on, Rhaegar? Apparently Dan Abnett has written Warhammer 40K books. I was trying to explain the other day because we were talking. I was talking to Rob about the Working Man. Chuck. It was just based on Chuck Dixon's Levon Trades book. I don't know if it's a series yet, but I know it's just on the book. I was trying to explain who Chuck Dixon is. I said Chuck Dixon is not only a comic book writer, but he's probably written more than anybody else.
He does still have I believe still owns,
yeah.
has the record, North American record for most
He's-
pages written.
And the reason why, as I said, that movie was so freaking great is because it plays to what we first liked about Jason. We'll go back to the original Transporter, the original Mechanic movie he did, a reboot. And this movie was all about human trafficking, and putting an end to it and stopping it. And it was, you had Stallone doing some of the writing for the screenplay, which really, and so it kind of felt like an action. It was just straight up action movie. It felt like John Bernthal Punisher, how he does, he does his research, detective mode, so surveillance, then comes in and just starts shooting everybody and just knifing. It was like, oh my gosh. And I said, and that, what does that movie do? It went for 40 million and is what the budget, and it's currently at 80 million. But it's still considered wouldn't say it's a small victory for them, but in the eyes of everyone, I don't hear anybody talking about that movie, and honestly, it just makes me sick because my stomach is like, that's kind of how I feel about a lot of these older comic books. They're getting pushed aside for all this new shit that sucks,
Well,
look at the Mark Millar books. They're being drowned out.
Yeah, I think the Dixon movie you're talking about.
Yeah,
I think, unfortunately, there's an entire okay. When I was a kid or a young adult, because I was in the '80s, give me the action movies, give me a Stallone movie, give me a Schwarzenegger movie, and those people that are my age now, they've grown up on Timothy Chalamet or whatever the hell his name is, and that action offends them. Yeah, it's just like they don't. I mean, most of them, too much misogyny, too much testosterone, toxic masculinity, blah blah blah. It's enough to move the needle. I mean, it's great when Top Gun made a mint, but I promise you, half that audience was close to my age.
Yeah, well, the Maverick
recapturing, Reacher does great, but those numbers wouldn't make a hit movie. That's why they're on TV.
Yeah, it was a former not MI6, but former Royal British military, as this character was, and it said going against the Bratva. Like, it was just straight up, just like a straight up 90s action movie, no different than watching JTV with Maximum Risk or some of those other ones. It's just like A to B, John Bernthal Punisher style. I said, like, it's people were just shot and killed, no mercy, knives to the throat and stuff, grenades. I was just like, this is what I miss from from comic book movies or just movie in general. Punisher Warzone. If any kids that saw it today would say, "Oh, this is so much," they would not like it. They say, "Oh, it's just too disgusting." Punisher Warzone with Ray Stevenson was just like hardcore. That was literally Punisher.
And Jigsaw was played by the main character from The Wire.
Yep. And he saw his face when he became Jigsaw, the blood and stuff, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I do like the John Bernthal Jigsaw, Punisher story. They did it, and it was like season 1.
Yeah.
And how he gets the Jigsaw face, it's a cut up. I like that, but I mean, like, it doesn't go as hard as that Warzone movie, I still admit I kind of like the.
I don't know, getting thrown through face first to a plate glass and then it's like rubbed out. That's pretty hard.
Yeah, like I love the Warzone movie, but for whatever reason I like the Thomas Jane movie a little bit more probably because it's more comedic, But it wasn't like that horrible MCU comedy, like they normally do, like that.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Yeah. And also had Micro in it, I believe, in the Ray Stevenson movie.
I didn't see it.
Chloe Bennett.
Daisy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Apparently one of the Paul brothers dated her.
I don't know, but I'll just say this, that She's probably the only character I liked on that show. From what I
Oh,
remember.
there were so many good characters on that show. You didn't like Ming-Na Wen's character,
Well, I didn't watch a lot of it.
buddy.
I'm agreeing with you. I didn't watch a lot of it.
You
From what I've
should-
seen,
you
though, I
should-
liked her. I liked her character. Her
You
first
should go
stuff.
watch it. Her character, Chloe Bennett's character, actually starts off very annoying. She gets better as the season goes on.
But she
as the
could
show goes on.
she causes like avalanche. Yeah, so she's basically like the gender swap version of the evil Brotherhood mutant Avalanche in the comic or in the
No, she's Quake. She's
Quake.
the comic book character Quake.
So she causes earthquakes.
Yeah, she sends vibrations out.
That's
from-
Avalanche from the X-Men Evolution. Remember?
Quake has been a character in the comics for like decades at this point.
When did she debut?
Hang on, we're gonna find out. Quake
Or Quake, yeah.
Marvel comics. I don't think she's been in anything recently. Daisy Johnson, Superhuman Spy, first appeared in Secret War #2 back in 2004. Created by Brian Michael Bendis and Gabriel Delato.
I didn't say horrible punish. I said the horrible humor they put in a lot of them the MCU now.
Oh, they
That's
have
what I
a
don't like.
team born in New Orleans. I didn't know that.
Okay, but what
Her,
did you say?
her character was born in New Orleans.
No. What do you say? What did she debut?
2004.
Okay, so she's recently. I guess not recent, but it's like
Yeah,
recent.
20 years. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
She'd be old enough to vote now. Well, no. You're old enough
What
to
about
vote.
Avalanche?
Yeah.
I know that's got to be an actual comic book character. They wouldn't have just made it for the cartoon.
Yeah,
Avalanche.
but Quake is cooler 'cause she's a spy, not a mutant terrorist.
Plus, she's hot.
Well, she was a kid at first, so let's not get crazy.
No, I'm talking about Chloe Bennett. And,
Oh, yes. You're right about that, too.
Avalanche, Marvel Comics. He 1980. Claremont and Byrne.
There you go.
I think he has he is been around since Brotherhood of Evil Mutants in there, and then he had Freedom Force, Legacy Virus, X Corps, Exodus, Brotherhood, M Day, Dark Reign. Yeah. He has Vibration Generation. That's his powers.
Same thing Daisy has.
Exactly. That's why I always said, like, when I saw her, like, is this just gender swap a character and just calls it else?
No. But then you can have two characters with the same superpowers. I mean, we've got Superman and Supergirl, for Pete's sake.
But they're both Kryptonians. And they're related.
Okay, Human Torch and Pyro.
Those are different powers. Pyro can't turn his whole body into flames, where Pyro can control telekinesis, where
You're right.
Human Torch turns into flames.
You're right. Human Torch and Fire. There you go. Different universes, but still same.
Rhaegar, your lack of hearing is what causes your problems. Because you do the Zach as well.
What?
He mishears words when we say stuff. I usually ignore it because I think he's just trolling.
Might be.
So I'm taking it Rhaegar didn't like Daredevil.
Is he talking about Daredevil?
I don't know. Is it?
Was you have witnessed?
Oh, he says it begins and ends with the Netflix for him. I saw the finale. I like the finale. The finale was good. I think it was probably the best episode.
What he did in that guy's head is way worse than anything he did in the Netflix.
Yes, that was wild. Absolutely wild.
And if you try to say calling him being a cuck, well, then you should call Frank Miller for doing that, because Frank Miller had him pining after Vanessa. So
She, the actress who plays Vanessa, was also in a really cool series that just finished up on Amazon called House of David. She's in that show. I was like, she looks familiar, so I went and IMDb'd her.
you never heard of her before the show.
Say it.
I said I never heard of her before the actual show.
Oh, wasn't she Vanessa in Daredevil before? Back when it was on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay. That might be the only thing I know her from. I don't think I've seen her in anything else until recently.
So, but like I said, Daredevil season 2 was a drop in quality.
I like Daredevil season 2. 3 was the one that dipped too much for me personally.
3 was annoyed me in the beginning because the fact that it was like, oh, I don't want to be Daredevil anymore. And
3 was the let's make Kingpin Trump analogy.
But he never was though.
But that's the one that they played it off as.
No.
Like that's the one where they were like, they tried very hard. You got to admit, they kind of tried to do it in this season of Born Again too, where they tried to paint some similarities between him and Trump. They did kind of do that. They did it, I think, even harder in season 3. But season 2 was good because that was the one with Elektra, and I actually am one of the few people that likes Netflix MCU Elektra. So take that for what you will.
Green, what do you think about that? The whole what Rhaegar's saying about Fisk.
I don't agree, but that's everybody has a right to their opinion. Because I think when push came to shove, he took control again.
He did.
That's
when he shouldered.
But by the same token, if somebody didn't see it that way, that's not for me to criticize one way or another. Because, like I said, I liked it. He didn't. We agree on plenty of other things. So there you go.
The Force Miss Marvel dad for no reason. The show that's a shared universe.
Yeah, actually, see, I didn't watch Ms. Marvel. I actually liked that character in that show. I didn't know that he was. I just thought he was a fan of Ms. Marvel. I had no idea that was the dad.
Yeah. The comic books, it says that Fisk was obsessed with Vanessa. So when she went missing, he kind of fell apart.
Well, she's his kryptonite.
Pretty much.
I mean, that's because that's to show that even the most powerful of men or women, have that one person that can reduce them to jelly. But I think they did a fairly decent job of making him. You knew who was in charge by the end of that.
So I'm gonna ask Rhaegar, do you know a lot of White Tiger fans? Before they did any of this White Tiger killing him off, and because I don't know anybody who was like, oh my gosh, I'm a huge White Tiger fan. Most people that I know of didn't care the fact that he got bumped off.
The only time I read anything with White Tiger, it was already the niece.
Yeah, the niece. Yeah, it was already taken.
No, I'll admit, if they were going to do that, they should have gotten an older actress to play the niece.
Yeah,
because she's not.
She's way too young.
Yeah, she's way too. And she's not. Laura Vereen. Like the little kid in the Wolverine movie.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I thought the White Tiger, that just have him just unceremoniously whacked. It could have been any other kid or any other person that Daredevil saved. I thought that was that didn't make any sense to me either, honestly, because I think White Tiger
kill him. Yeah.
I mean, they're doing it as a plot point, obviously.
Yeah.
But they could have had any just random guy walking by. And I don't know that, because I said now that he's assembling an army, of course they have to get a different actor, obviously, but White Tiger could have been part of the group of people that takes him on next in season 2. But so I'm kind of I'm with Rhaegar on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I don't. Except White Tiger was just another character. He wasn't literally. Yeah, I don't. I agree though. He shouldn't have been in there. But they needed a vigilante.
They needed something to further that plot.
And then I'm not sure who else you would have thrown in there other than White Tiger if you want a different vigilante to kill off.
No, I mean,
They're
I
saying,
understand. Obviously, they go through all that to exonerate him, and of course, he gets killed right away, by the crooked cops. I mean, I get it. It was a plot point.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it'd been that they just made up a vigilante and brought in the White Tiger to actually be somebody going forward.
I mean, if they wanted to have the plot point with the niece, taking on, I don't think she's going to, but if she's gonna become the new White Tiger, I wanted a much older actress on.
Yeah, it has to be. That's not gonna work.
Yeah. No, I don't mind the vigilante cop plot,
Yeah, that wasn't terrible.
It's like I said, it's not all cops that are bad. There were good cops in there. If they're going completely woke, there would not have been a single good cop whatsoever. They would have all been horrible. But the one that surprised me a lot was that Cole guy from the Chip Zdarsky run.
Yes.
Yeah, they just bumped him off.
Is he dead, or was he just like wounded?
He was there with the grenade went off. The thing at the house.
He was wounded for some reason.
He was laying there, and he was he's laying against the wall. He's wounded and stuff, and then they jump out of the apartment, and the apartment blows up. So I mean, he's probably dead. But he was the one guy that sided with Daredevil in the failed Chip Zdarsky run. He joins Chip Zdarsky's army that he builds to go against the Hand.
That's right. I remember that.
And then doesn't Foggy get bumped off in the comics too?
Foggy faked his death.
Yeah, there was one faking his death thing.
Yeah. But I don't know. It could have been a whole lot worse. I'm glad what we got so far. Although my only real complaint was the Punisher being kind of nerfed a little bit. And
I think
the thing was kind of dumb.
I'm gonna disagree on that because I think he didn't find the Punisher. He found what was left of Frank Castle, but now Frank is back, and I think he's going to figure prominently in the second season.
Well, it's not the beginning part of him, just being that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when he does go to confront the cops there at the end there, and he just shows up. I'm like, where is you could have been to Thomas Jane where you just show up with all the guns and stuff. Instead, you just walked in there kind of and just unarmed, or maybe he had a pistol. I can't remember what it was, but I remember it was like they took him down real easy.
Well, yeah, because they had because we wouldn't get the cool post credit scene.
I know. That's what I was like. Really?
Nope.
So I don't know. Like I said, honestly, I would love to have the Defender show up for the next season.
I think Spider-Man will, because some people pointed out at a certain point in the finale, you can hear Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like the musical theme. It's like slowed down or played very stealthily.
Do you think they'll let him go into the
director?
There is zero chance of seeing.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's
the director said that was intentional.
Tom Holland is their big MCU hero right now. That there hasn't been a bad Tom Holland movie that didn't sell well. As far as
I think all three of the Spider-Man movies have been very good. So that's
I like them.
So they're not going to risk him being in a TV series.
I don't think it's that. It's if they can work into his contract that he has to do it, it's not going to cost them more than the rest of the show put together. I could see a cameo, but he's not going to factor into the plot. I do think you got a better shot of seeing, possibly one or two or three of the
Jessica Hedwig or whatever it was, the one that played.
I don't think you'll see Colleen or Misty.
I would love to see Colleen.
You do have a shot at. I would have loved the Daughters of the Dragon.
Yep.
I think the lady that played Misty's probably too old now, because she was already in her mid 40s when that show was on. So she's in her early 50s.
Well, yeah, you'll get Danny Rand and Luke Cage coming in.
Danny Rand. It's gonna tick off so many people when they see White Iron Fist.
Yep.
I'll love it.
If he gets to wear the costume,
Oh, that'd be great.
give him the green and the yellow. Give him that, Like, the only thing is, like, I would love, like, is that Ward? That would be awesome. See Ward Beecham shows up.
Now, if they did that, though, now, I guess then they'd have to make an Iron Fist season 3 and show us how he got the Iron Fist back.
Yeah. Like,
when Iron Fist season 2 ended, he had got like the Wendell Orson, the guy from World War II. He had like a pistol, like Iron Fist, like he had a pistol, the World War II version. So they'd have to go dive into that. Which
I would just have, like, they talk to the board. Yeah, I hear you're looking for one of my friends, and it's like, well, here he is. And then,
but it's been years, so like I said, if we see Iron Fist, I want Iron Fist.
I think Jessica Jones is supposed to be in season 2. I think they've said that she's supposed to be. And if she's there, I would almost got money that Luke Cage would be.
They're bringing Aldi Young has actually been in talks since as far as coming in back as Elektra.
I lost my thought. If they bring back Jessica Jones, they've got to forget that the second half of season 2 and all of season 3 ever existed.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Obviously, more so season 3, I'm okay with that. Season 2, I didn't care as much, but season 3 needs, no.
They made a really big mistake by killing Purple Man off at the end of the first season.
Well, they made a really big mistake by making her. I mean, her character was unlikable to the other characters on the show, but she was likable.
To the character,
but she was. Let me finish this before I forget. No, because my mind, I'll forget. Yeah. But the audience liked the character, but she was unlikable. Period. In the second half of that show, unless you think Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the greatest thing that ever happened to entertainment.
So what's going to happen probably. Swordsman.
Oh, please.
Lalo or whatever the guy's name is.
Give me a Swordsman. Give me a season 2 of Hawkeye.
Yes, they had plans for a season 2. It was going to be Clint and Kate on New Year's Eve doing like a last Alamo stand against an army of hitmen. Why is that not on my screen right now, Marvel? I want it.
Yeah, and so we're getting Ironheart.
Well, I'm sure.
It's okay.
I want to say this: if they have a track record taking characters that nobody likes in comic books, putting them in the comic and putting them in the TV series, they did it with Miss Marvel. That girl,
Miss Marvel, the actress is likable though. The actress has enough charisma. I saw the Marvels, and she was the best part of. I mean, the movie
exactly.
She was the best.
We saw that with Kate Bishop. The actress.
I don't know that about this girl who plays Iron.
No, I'm just saying Kate Bishop was another one. No, but dude, going into this, watching Hawkeye, I'm guarantee you, Breen, you're like, Kate Bishop, but he liked it.
Wasn't what is Ironheart's name? I forgot.
Riri Williams.
Yeah, Riri Williams. Yeah. Didn't she show up in Black Panther 2?
Yeah, she
Girl Bossing Up a Storm.
Yeah.
See, Kate Bishop, our introduction to her in the MCU was as a likable character. But I think they've already done some damage to Riri. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I won't watch it, but I mean, maybe it'll be good. But
yeah, like you said, I'm hoping that maybe the trifecta. They actually have the third, character, and if Riri is done well, and not that Bendis guys, like honestly, I would love it, But what I saw earlier, some earlier stuff of who's gonna be in there, they got I guess one is a trans character or something that's gonna be in there. And that kind of makes me doubt a little bit. But I mean, like I said, who knows? They've had time to reamp everything. Blade has been canceled. They no longer go on Blade anymore. They scrapped that after going back and forth. There's a Blade video game coming out. which might actually be a better way to do that than to try to do a movie. But I don't know. I said I'm looking forward to season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. I was kind of just mad because it was only like 9 episodes or 8.
Well, if they're going to do a season 2 of Hawkeye, they better not wait too much longer because Renner's 54.
Yeah,
and that's
I need another Born Legacy part 2.
But I said that's that show managed to. The side characters were fun. I mean, I said everything about that show was fun. I wish Marvel brought that to all of them. And there was, they didn't, it wasn't made to own the chuds or like She-Hulk.
Like She-Hulk was, yeah.
It wasn't there to have some kind of big, deep social meeting like Winter Soldier and Falcon and Winter Soldier, whatever it was.
Falcon the Snowman.
Yeah, but so I hope that I said I'd love seeing another season, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I don't think we're going to get one.
Yeah.
And now I don't know.
Well, here's
Haley Stansfield's a pretty big star, and
here's
she's about to marry Josh Allen.
Here's the stupid thing: they killed off Iron Man in the MCU, pissing off a lot of fans. And now they're going to bring in someone who's not his daughter from the MCU to be the next Iron person. Like, everyone wants Love You 3000 girl. We want her to be the next. If you're going to do that, have his daughter be the next Iron Man or Iron Woman. Sorry, instead of having, because Riri Williams does not make any sense now because you created another character.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Iron Man 3, but I don't know how much people remember that the MCU Iron Man 3 and stuff. Is in his daughter supposedly. So, but like I said, the MCU has pretty much shot themselves in the crotch. I don't think anyone really cares. Like the new Fantastic Four movie, that's their last chance of actually holding an audience.
Correction.
Thunderbolts, I think will be good, but I think it'll be a streaming movie.
I don't think so.
Because I think people after Brave New World, they don't really want to go to the theater and spend money.
What's the only way Thunderbolts is a hit is if it really is good, and gets a good word of mouth. Because you can roll out a turd and get a good opening weekend. It's what you do after that, and they're going to need 2 or 3 weeks of winning the box office. And what I've seen so far looks pretty good. I don't go to the theater anymore because that was kind of like thing with my nephew because we'd go to the superhero movies while I was growing up. But I don't know if I have any desire to see. Well, hell, I haven't seen the last Thor, the last Black Panther. I haven't seen Doctor Strange 2 yet. I haven't seen Captain America, whatever the new one was, and I don't know that I'll have
We don't know why Zach's going to see Thunderbolts. Yelena.
Not just Yelena. Yelena has been usurped.
David Harbour.
No, there's another actress. People are speculating and saying she plays Songbird. She's from Australia. She's pretty. Yeah. But Yelena is a close number 2.
Wow, she's just dropped down.
You like those birthing hips, don't you, Zach?
Also, let's also be real. Julia Louis-Dreyfus ain't hard on the eyes either. I've liked her since Seinfeld. So,
how much older is her husband, Richard?
Huh?
How much younger is she than her husband? Because you say she still looks good. Her husband looks like he's 90 something if he's still alive.
Well, let's see. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is almost Medicare age. She's 64. Her spouse,
80 something.
Oh my gosh, her spouse Brad Hall is born in 87. He's 60.
Well, she's not with Dreyfus anymore.
No, hang on.
No, they married in 87.
He was born in 58. Oh, excuse me. She was born in 61. So that's only
he's Hell, he's only 4 years older than me.
Yeah. That's only 3 years difference. That's not.
Richard Dreyfuss is 77 years old, so he's no longer married to her anymore? They divorced?
They were never married.
Oh, I thought they were.
No.
They just had the same kind of last name.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought
spelled differently.
I always thought they were just married. I was like, he's so much.
Oh, you thought she was married to Richard Dreyfuss?
Yes, I was like, he's like 77 something like. But every time I see him though, he doesn't look 77. He looks like he's gonna buy a ticket soon.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Brad Hall's Second City TV, right? And he was in Saturday Night Live before that.
Maybe.
Brad Hall. I'm gonna look this guy. He looks like, wow. He looks like he could be a stand-in for what's this guy's name? From Peter Weller or James Woods. He's got that huge bird nose. Yeah, he's from Bye Bye Love, The Guardian, Limit Up, Troll. He's in the first Troll movie, huh?
They have other books. I just remembered. I'm dumb. Give me a second.
Well, he's a writer too. Yeah, he's done stuff too. Yeah, but Must Love Dogs. He had part of that.
Shit, that was Saturday Night Live sketch. I always thought that was Second City.
Huh.
I don't know.
Rich Hall's known comedically he's best known for Sniglets.
Wow, I cannot believe I forgot these books I got. Got these in the mail the other day.
Oh, you got books?
I don't know who said what that jogged my memory, and they've been sitting on my coffee table. I got new Rippaverse books. So I got The Horseman. This is written by Mike Barron.
Cancel it.
Cancel it.
Mike Barron.
Wait, are both of these? Both of these might be written by Mike Barron, actually. This is the other one he did, I think. This is Gooding, the Polymath. This is like an Iron Man-esque hero. This is Mike Barron and Will Conrad, who's drawing Flash Gordon.
Did you know this?
And then he does like his own little magazine thing where they do like previews and interviews and stuff. And apparently they're about to do like a very Firefly, Farscape-y, cosmic kind of comic book, which I will definitely be getting that one. Cool. That sounds fun. So this is Ripazine issue number 3. So yeah, they've got some pretty cool stuff coming from there. They could drop the price a little bit, but it's not terribly painful. So anyway, I've completely zoned out on those.
You know, there's one thing that happened tonight that's really just thrown me off.
What's that?
We have not seen Maranya in the past 3 hours.
No.
She never showed up.
Now you say that, you're right.
Maybe she's doing
Internet
something.
problems?
Maybe she's doing something tonight.
Maybe she's asleep.
Nah, she usually wakes up around 8.
That's true.
I know because we were waiting for her yesterday. And it's like, where are you? And it's like, oh, I'm awake now.
Maybe she just didn't wake up. Get some extra sleep.
I was gonna say you get a little dark there.
No, that's not what I meant.
Jeez.
I know she's having internet issues, so maybe her internet just isn't working.
The Mike Barron books, Rhaegar, they're good. Kind of similar to the when I talked about the first 3, like the anthology trade I got.
Yeah,
a lot of it is very like introductory because I mean they are new characters, they are issue number 1s, but overall the writing is good. With this one, the little previews that they do, the preview for the Dirty Deeds, which is like the space Farscape looking one. That one's pretty good. It's nothing to write home about. The concept is it's Farscape or it's Firefly, but just tweaked a little bit. The writing is not bad. The art's actually pretty good. I like.
Hey, does that tell you when Richard and Ethan's books are coming out?
No, it doesn't actually, because they're not. It does also have previews for the 2 books that the Saska sisters are doing. Which is Yaira and Blood Ruth, which is like their horror.
They're never going to top Dead Hooker in a Trunk.
Why would you want to? Why would you want
in a
to?
trunk and a drunk?
In a trunk.
With a drunk.
Okay, I heard because I heard.
You haven't seen that, I assume that, Zach.
No,
I have.
It was Dead Hooker in a trunk.
Dead Hooker in a trunk. That was the first thing the Saska sisters did.
Okay.
I was like, man,
real hooker in a trunk.
No wonder you had such a crazy
what? No wonder Breen was on a bender for 20 years. If you saw that, I would be too.
And then the next thing they did, they played psycho nurses.
Yeah.
In some hospital, like crazy, like mental hospital or something.
Yeah.
Look that up now. How did you find out about this movie? Just like it was just advertised or just?
I can't remember. Let's see. Hang on a second.
4.8 out of 10.
Oh, man. Yeah, we're not going to talk about Ethan or Richard because, good Lord, what?
Yeah, I don't.
That conversation.
Don't need to bring up stuff like that.
That's what I do now. I've realized I've cracked the code. The reason that so many people with unpopular opinions are so popular is because we don't shut up about them. We repost them. We call them out on social media.
Oh, there you go. Yep, wow. Yeah. Did you just come across it randomly at a movie place or does you're muted?
My mistake. The Horseman is not my.
Hold on, Zach. Breen is muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, then why am I shutting up?
No, I think this might have been solicited in like one of the comic things.
Oh, okay.
It was. I can't remember how I found out about this.
Fresh books. Just randomly see it.
I've only seen it once because this is still sealed, but and I don't have the other.
It's a collector's item. Have him sign it.
This is Chuck Dixon. This is not Mike Barron. I stand corrected.
Hold on.
And Joe Bennett on art. So
I believe in Joe Bennett.
I believe in Joe Bennett. Yes, I do. I do believe in Joe Bennett with this. This is at first I thought this was just going to be Ripper versus Punisher, but it's a lot more than that actually. It's really cool.
Eric was the one that said it. I was just engaged in conversation. And Geeky Zero is going strong with when you're not here.
Not me. I'm fading, sir. I may have to.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to call it.
I'm fading.
Time of death.
11:46. Bro, you say that? You know I've been watching medical shows like crazy now.
Well, have you watched The Pit?
Yep, that was the one that started it. Thank you. I think it was you that got me going on that. It's okay. I like it. It gets a little liberal sometimes, but it's Hollywood. So.
It does, but it was so well done that
it's very well done.
It didn't get as leftist as season 3 of Ted.
That's true. And I also love the 24 aspect of it, where every hour of the show is an hour in real time.
When you got to that day, did you come to the same conclusion that I did, that Jack Bauer wouldn't have lasted a shift at that hospital?
Bro, that ER shift was crazy. But also what was fun was what was his name? What's the guy from Gotham that we all loved until he
Butch.
Butch.
Yep.
Butch was a dick.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. That one thing talking about the leftist stuff.
Yeah.
The guy that made a point to tell us that he's one of the few people that actually has insurance.
Right.
Of course, was a piece of shit.
Of course, he's going to go around sucker punching a 50-year-old woman.
And the ladies that was, and that lady's in Daredevil too, by the way.
Which one?
The one
that got punched?
Yeah.
Is she the one that
she was at the fancy party and like 3 or 4 episodes.
Okay.
But
she's the one that she was kind of talking to the Daredevil, and then she kind of backed away.
And of course, remember when the Vaxxer and the anti-Vaxxer were arguing?
Yeah.
Of course, the anti-Vaxxer got violent.
Yeah.
And the Vaxxer was, pure as the day of snow. So I said, they definitely had their agenda, but freaking Noah Wiley was just great in that, and that was a
good
show. Oh my god.
The twist too with that other guy, the number 2 guy,
Langdon.
Because it starts off like that girl, the intern who wants to the one who thinks she's all that, At first, it's like, oh, she's just trying to be a jerk and just get a one-up on this guy. But the twist that it takes.
Yep.
Is Noah Wiley on the Paul Rudd regiment? Because he hasn't aged since ER.
Oh, I know.
I pay.
Yes, he did.
That was a good show, though. That was a good show. I was watching that, and then I needed a little bit of levity after some of those episodes because, like, God, some of them get dark. So then I started watching St. Denis Medical, which is kind of like The Office, but in a hospital. And it's kind of funny. It's enough to make you chuckle, at least. So, anyway.
Oh,
I was getting tired, and here I am 10 minutes later talking about
Sorry,
medical.
Jay. God
Don't
bobbled
believe
the
in me,
ball in
Jay.
the outfield, and now it's tied.
Don't believe.
Yep. Did you see that, Zach? You see that Celeste is playing Halo?
I did not. I haven't. I had the Twitch stream open in a while. She's playing Halo. Gosh, I'm gonna have to listen to this while I fall asleep.
The inside joke is that she hates that game. I don't know why she's playing.
I'm not a huge fan. I liked one or two of them, but my brother like swears by it.
Oh, her fiance actually, he still plays the game because he likes playing that ranked games and stuff. So
yes, I can't.
she's like, she's just like, I hate this game. It's the worst game ever. And that's what I was wondering because I had the volume down. Like, did he just take over her stream?
Yeah.
But, dude, I can't believe that The Office is like still.
It still does. It still does, Rhaegar. True story. I'm gonna interrupt you. I'm sorry. I never do this. My brother is getting caught up on all the pop culture, all like the current sitcoms. So he went through. He binged Parks and Rec in like 3 weeks, which is crazy. He's currently wrapping up The Office. He's in the final season of The Office. I think he started like 2 weeks ago. And his biggest thing, he hated Steve Carell's character. He hated Michael Scott. But the season comes when he leaves. And my brother was like, how did I hate this character so much? But I'm still sad when he leaves. It's because the writing is brilliant. So he's doing that. And then I think after The Office, he's either going to watch... what did he say? He's either going to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine or he was going to watch something else. I can't remember. But, yeah, The Office still works. It's hilarious. It could never be written today like it was back then, but it still works today. It's great. So, yeah.
Yep.
And Reach was the last good Halo. He is right about that.
You didn't like Halo 4?
Not really. I liked Reach and I liked ODST, which was a spinoff. It wasn't even
ODST. Dude, ODST was crazy because, like, I forgot that you had Nathan Fillion in there.
You not only Nathan Fillion, you had him, you had Alan Tudyk, and you had Adam Baldwin. The three guys from Firefly. That was crazy.
Wait a second.
Adam Baldwin?
Adam Baldwin.
Is it Adam Baldwin?
That's Chuck.
Yeah, no, it's the same guy.
I know. But I always give Chuck first billing because Chuck was awesome.
Oh, excuse me. Chuck is awesome.
Firefly is the most overrated show in television history.
I didn't know that Adam Baldwin was in Firefly.
I think it's underrated.
That's crazy.
I did like him in Chuck, though.
And you know that he's also a big time conservative.
Oh, absolutely. That's probably why you don't see him in anything.
Yeah.
At least until they finally decide to make a Chuck movie.
Because remember they had the picture of he had the framed picture of Ronald Reagan. Who knew that show turned out how conservative that was? Zach Levy. We didn't find out for years.
Oh yeah, well Zach Levy. I don't think even he knew how conservative he was until
I think
he side of the Trump.
I think he was more of like an old school liberal.
Yeah,
which has a lot of conservative tenets today.
Yeah. He was in Full Metal Jacket too as well.
Yeah.
He was also the Patriot.
Hey, you know what we suck at?
What's that?
Ending streams.
We do. We really do.
We are not adept at that.
We're like the worst damn in history.
Well, that's because we learned from Eglantine the 40-minute goodbye.
What do you mean? Normally we go for an hour and a half. We're at 3:43 now, Bungie style.
Yeah,
we're only an hour longer than what the last Mission Impossible movie is going to be.
Yeah, Rhaegar, I was just joking. I mean, Firefly wasn't particularly my cup of tea, but I love this, and the A's win.
I never watched. Oh, cool. Who are they playing?
Jay's Rangers.
Oh,
What's my impression of Jay's favorite team?
Rangers, come on.
This is my impression of when it comes to the Reds. They're not there at all.
Well, wait a minute. Lean forward again. That was a great impression of their offense.
Yeah.
They didn't have pitching. They looked like the.
You kept saying Adam Baldwin. I kept thinking that was one of the Baldwin brothers. That's what threw me off.
No, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he is.
He isn't.
He's not.
He's not related to Alec and Steven?
No.
Or Daniel?
Nope.
Yeah.
I thought he was the third Baldwin. Okay.
No, Daniel is.
I don't know who Daniel Baldwin is. What is he famous for?
Of course you don't know.
I think he was the one in Homicide.
Yeah.
He's an actor.
Wasn't
I've
Daniel?
never
Was
heard of him.
was he in?
Oh, he is in Homicide. You're right.
Was he in the vampire movie?
He
James
was in
Woods?
something called Vampires.
Yeah, James Woods. Yeah, Daniel
With
Baldwin.
James Woods, yeah. I've never heard of this man before in my life.
I know, but the way he acted in that movie, he reminded me of Jim Belushi. So, all right. We're going to end it here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for a little comic reading around 8 p.m. Eastern. No, it's all right. Under here, guys.
Right on.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Like
night.
and subscribe and comment and all. You guys know the proper YouTube etiquette. Shouldn't have to tell y'all. Serenity was good, Rhaegar. Yeah, I didn't realize who that guy was until much later in life. So, it was a good movie. Anyway.
All right. All right, then. Well, that's it. Have a good night, guys.
Go see Sinners, Rhaegar. Let us know how it is.
Haley Steinfeld.
And Michael B. Jordan.
Haley looks great in that. I thought she was
Haley
great.
does. Something about the 1920s makes people look snazzy.